The driver's heart right now, he's pounding out of his chest, his hands are sweaty.
You see the deal. The more things change, the more they stay the same.
Used to soothe up.
Nice, smooth as always. Try to get him on a camera.
Green.
You're clear. Check a flag.
Checkered flag waving.
The winner at Kansas. My goodness gracious.
From daytime to darkness, we're going to race all night. It's Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Kansas. It's a hot one here in the Great Plains. 82 degrees the ambient, track temp of 99. Winds out of the southwest at 15. Eric Almirola now driving for Stewart-Haas in the number 10. Last year in this race, he was in the Petty number 43. And an accident in front of him. Danica Patrick, Joey Logano. Here comes Eric. Watch when his car lands. There. Fractured his back. Was out of action for weeks after a hard jolt. But came back strong, and now he's in a new ride for 2018. There is Eric Almirola starting fourth. Your lineup will be on the left side of the screen. How about we dial him up, Jeff?
Hey, Eric, this is Jeff up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you guys.
Well, boy, you've been showing a lot of speed lately and certainly a lot of speed here this weekend. What are your thoughts and hopes for tonight's race?
Well, I hope to go to victory lane. That's what we're all out here for. But, yeah, it's been a great start to the season for us. We're just continuing to build our foundation. And Johnny and all the boys brought me a really fast Smithfield Prime 4 Fusion for tonight. So looking forward to it. Excited about tonight's race.
We know these night races, the track really changes a lot. How do you keep up with it as a driver? What kind of things can you share with your team to stay on top of this racetrack?
Honestly, I just try and go run to run and let Johnny and the engineers do the rest. You know, I try and get as much out of it as I can from run to run and give them the best feedback I can. And then they've got a notebook, and some of it just comes down to your gut. So we'll hope we execute all night and make the right decisions as the track kind of changes from daylight to dark, and hopefully keep this Smithfield Prime Ford Fusion up front tonight on prime time on Fox.
Well, thank you for the plug there. Have a great night. Thanks.
Thanks, boys.
Will had pork chops for dinner last night, right? Hey, let's get downstairs for late breaking word from pit road, beginning on the right with Matt Yoakum.
Well, thanks, Mike. You know, Denny Hamlin will roll off in the 6th position. He has one win here at Kansas. Now, crew chief Mike Wheeler told me the two most important words tonight: track position. You have to execute in every area to have a good night. And that includes the driver was speeding, not speeding, also the guys that go over the wall. One area that they picked as well was the stall. Spot number 2, same stall they used last fall. They felt like it really helped with the timing lines to get up to speed and maybe steal a spot or two. Jamie Little?
Well, one driver who's trying to end a 4-race slump is Eric Jones, but this has been a tough place for him. In 3 starts here, he spun in all 3, but his crew chief, Chris Gale, told me he thinks they can turn things around tonight. They were top 5 in practice and had a decent qualifying effort, but he told me the key tonight, managing that grip level and don't spin. Vince Welch?
Well, tonight marks the much-anticipated return of 2-time series champ Matt Kenseth. He's back with Roush, where he won 24 times earlier in his career. But winning is not the expectation tonight. This, they hope, is just a continuation of learning about the team, learning about its strengths and weaknesses. They must walk before they run, but they hope it's the beginning of a journey that will land them and lead them in victory lane for many times to come. Larry McReynolds?
Yeah, Vince, 2 key words tonight: communication and adapting. You heard Eric Almirola. That crew chief, he has to listen to that driver and make changes all night long to a changing racetrack. The driver has to adapt, maybe change where he's running that race car to find the most grip, and the spotter has to communicate to that driver where other drivers are making up ground where that driver can move that group around. Now let's take a look at our race analysis. 267 laps, 400 miles, the stage links. The first 2, 80 each, 107 to the checkered flag. Pit road speed, 45 miles per hour. The fuel window, 58 to 62 laps. The grip level on a 1 to 5 scale of 4. A competition caution, Mike, at lap 30 because it rained hard here last night.
Thanks, Larry. 4 of the front 5 are Fords. Kyle Larson goes to the rear. He spun during qualifying, had to change tires. 1 Chevy starting in the top 10. Nice run for Chris Buescher in qualifying yesterday as Harvick and Blaney lead them toward the green flag.
They got the green flag out. Boogity, boogity, boogity. Let's go Saturday night racing, boys.
They fan out 3 wide mid-pack on lap 1 as Kevin Harvick scoots away from the field. There's Buescher right in the middle of William Byron in another Chevy, and the Toyotas of Jones and Suarez on the outside.
Yeah, Mike, I was looking a little further back. You'll see Clint Bowyer coming to picture here in a second. I looked back and said, man, somebody's driving up through there like a wild man. It
14.
was Bowyer there. He's just going to town.
Clint Bowyer was one of half a dozen cars that did not get through inspection in time to post a qualifying lap yesterday. So he and Michael McDowell racing hard up from the back.
I think it's a little built-up frustration in Clint Bowyer after what happened yesterday. He had a car that probably could have been up there contending for that pole of Kevin Harvick.
Bowyer up to 22nd already. And here is Kyle Larson, who had to change tires after that qualifying spin. He's also marching quickly through the back half of the field.
And Mike, they know that Bowyer and these guys know, got to get them while we can. They're all bunched up here. I can pass 3 or 4 lap here if I do my job.
Bowyer up to 22nd, and now things get a little tougher up there working against Chase Elliott. Single file up front. All the battling mid-pack. Here's Eric Jones, Martin Truex for 10th.
Yeah, last year's teammate. Now this year he's gone to Gibbs, and Truex kind of the lone soldier there at Furniture Row.
I really think that that young man in the 20 car tonight, Mike, his mission, his goal should be run all the laps. They've had a couple of bad races. He needs to run all the laps and get his confidence back. Not that I think he's lost any, but he just needs that would really be helpful to him.
You know, Truex has lost some spots here. Car probably not to his liking. Matt, what do you got on the 78?
Go back to Friday when weather forced both practice sessions to be condensed in one. The 78 of Truex never really felt like they got a good handle on their package. Cole Pearn told me a few moments ago that he really doesn't know what to expect. What he's been hearing from Truex, the car, no grip anywhere.
Well, he just got past Mike by the 19 car there, and that tell you, Suarez has been on a tear here lately. He's had some great runs, finished 3rd last week at Dover. That car's been pretty fast.
Yeah, 3 top 10s in a row for him.
Now we know the 42 is on fresh tires. They changed them after qualifying. Keep in mind that Bowyer, Kane, Kenseth, McDowell, DiBenedetto, and Timmy Hill are on new tires to start this race. It's the biggest advantage they're going to have all night. Everybody else in the field had to start the race using the tires on which they qualified, so they have some laps on them already. 4th place, Almirola Keselowski. Here's Jamie.
And starting on fresh sticker tires was the silver lining for the 14 team. Clint Bowyer, they struggled to get through tech yet again today. I talked to Mike Bugaravich, his crew chief. He said, I just can't wait to start this race and put the weekend behind us. But he did tell me the goal was to race their way up into the top 15 by the time the competition caution comes out at lap 30. Right now, he's already up 15 spots.
Yeah, Jamie, he's not going to have any trouble being in the top 15. He's 18th right now, and he continues to move forward. So that 14 car is pretty darn good.
And this is the time they have to be good, because by not qualifying, they got the last pick of pit stalls. So that's not going to work in their favor. So this opening green flag run is where drivers like he and the 42 really need to make time. Kyle
really
Larson.
been on a tear.
Boy, he has. He's come through the field in a hurry, and I can't wait to see him get up high against that wall, because he's going to ride that wall for the night's over with.
Speaking of wall, has Bubba Wallace been there?
Let's see what happened.
Lost a little pace there as Matt Kenseth gets to the inside. Now let's take a look back here. This is turn 4.
He's really loose, sliding
Oh, yeah.
sideways. Pretty nice save. I don't know if he touched the wall.
I don't believe he did. It looked like he got right up next to it, but I don't think he hit it. I think that side 4 straightened him up.
You know, he ran the truck race last night, and I saw him do a slide similar to that in turn 4. I bet that got his attention.
Wallace in 27. Kevin Harvick up 1.7 seconds on Ryan Blaney and Kyle Busch after 10 laps.
Here we are, Saturday in Kansas, 37 crew, Saturday night under the lights. Mother's Day tomorrow. Make sure you get some Breyers ice cream during the break. Come on back, join us, watch us, follow along.
Chris Buescher's crew, they started top 10, running 15th right now after 15 laps. Kevin Harvick's lead shrinking a bit. It was 1.7 at the break. It's now 1 second over Ryan Blaney. And the top running Chevy in this race is the driver who started last, Kyle Larson.
It's unbelievable. I mean, he's been carrying the banner for them. I really think not just this year, but maybe even last year. But to be able to start in the back, he showed speed in qualifying. Unfortunately, he spun out. Starting at the back to be able to drive up and drive past Martin Truex Jr. on a 1.5 miles, that's unbelievable.
Let's go to 13th place because Clint Boyer is also making his way to the front from 33rd. Daniel Suarez at 14th, lost a couple of spots in the last 3 laps, 3 spots. Kyle Larson trying to move on Paul Menard. That would put 1 Chevy in the top 10 with 3 Toyotas and 6 Fords.
And you know, we've heard sound bites out of Kyle Larson where he said, hey, I don't feel like Chevy's at as much of a deficit as some others. So obviously his car's driving a lot better than the rest of them.
Yeah, if I was driving his car, I might not feel that way either, because he's obviously been like the best Chevrolet just about every week.
He moves around the outside of Paul Menard and into 10th place. Couple of lapped cars ahead. He'll have to negotiate.
I think those new tires, when you start on new tires like that, Mike, that gives you some advantage, and he's taking advantage of that advantage.
So Chris Buescher 15th. Here's William Byron 16th. And there are 6 Chevrolets right behind them, including Ryan Newman, Chase Elliott, Bowman, Johnson, and Allmendinger.
Yeah, Mike, you got to know, when one of the greatest drivers of all time is running in the 21st position, 7-time champion, got 83 wins, and he can't compete, he can't get up there and be in the top 10. That's a strong message right there to me.
And if you ask anybody over at the 48, they'd said, well, if we knew what the problem was, we would have fixed it.
They're working hard.
Sure.
I mean, everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, all those Chevy teams, including Ganassi and Childers and Chevrolet themselves, they're working extremely hard to try to make up that gap.
Yeah, I think they know what the problem is. They don't know how to fix it. I think that's the problem. They know that they're lacking in downforce. They don't know how to get downforce the other cars have.
11th place here, riding with Martin Truex. It was on this date in 2012 that Hendrick Motorsports got its 200th win. That came at Darlington. Tonight on May 12th, they're going for win number 250.
And I think I remember that year as well. I think the Hendrick cars struggled a lot that year, and Jimmy finally got that win at Darlington, and it seemed like it propelled them into some other wins later in the year. And we're early in the season. It's not, they can get this thing turned around. Everybody talks about Toyota last year. Yeah, they did a similar thing, but these Chevy teams have got to get going. They got to get going pretty quick.
Well, if you look at the Chevy drivers who have led laps so far this year,
this is
after Kyle Larson, that list gets pretty thin in a hurry.
Hey guys, you know, we sat down with the Hendrick crew chiefs this morning and just chatted with them, and my point blank question to them was, do you feel like it's all aero? And Alan Gustafson, Chase Elliott's crew chief, said, you know, obviously that's what everybody's pointing at because we have a new body. But he said, when you're off, you have to look under every rock that's out there. We can't just fall back on it. It's absolute 100% aero. We have to look at everything because, mind you, I know Chase Elliott was awfully good in the playoffs last year, but Chevrolet has only won one race in the last 21 races. That would include the 10 at the end of last year. You have to go all the way back to Richmond in September, the last time Chevrolet won a non-restrictor plate race, and that was Kyle Larson at Richmond.
And Larry, it's not like we're ganging up on the Chevrolet team. We're just looking at the numbers. We're looking at the results. And I think it's fair to the fans and to everybody in the sport that, you know, they got work to do and they need to get busy.
Kurt Busch wearing our Fox visor cam today in his number 41 Stewart-Haas Ford. 7th place, 10.7 back of the lead. And also carrying a Fox Ford on board, Matt Kenseth, not coming out of retirement. Kenseth was let go the end of last year by Joe Gibbs Racing, and he and Jack Roush recently had a conversation. He said, do you think you can help us? Matt said, yes, I do. I'd love to come help, and here he is.
He was just on an extended vacation. I think he's back, but he better not look. I think he may have his hands full right now with our leader. I know that.
I think right about now, I know he said he didn't have any expectations, but I think the challenge is a little bit taller than what he was anticipating coming into this weekend.
But Ricky Stenhouse, I did hear him say that the same things I've been complaining about are the same things that Matt Kenseth's complaining about. When Matt Kenseth complains about something, they'll get something done about it.
Vince?
Well, and Kenseth being at Roush is part of that confirmation process for some of the things that Stenhouse has talked about in the past. Right now, as you see the leader, Kevin Harvick, getting around Matt Kenseth to put him a lap down. Kenseth says the car is pretty much undrivable right now. Absolutely no right rear grip. Says he feels like it's got a ton of air in the tires. They are so thankful that they've got the competition caution coming in a couple of laps.
3 laps to that competition yellow. Heavy rains this morning throughout Kansas City, which were not forecast, but dumped a lot of water on this racetrack and gave us a green racetrack after last night's truck race. So one more lap and we'll have the competition yellow. Stage lengths today, 80, 80, and 107 laps.
Mike, a little bit of redemption for Trevor Bayne because Trevor's been complaining about the cars, and now you put an experienced driver like Matt Kenseth in there, and he's complaining about the same things. I think that's the direction you need to be looking at.
Hey guys, you know, we're 1 lap away from the competition caution, lap 30. I've been watching the race pace. We have slowed down about a second half to second 3/4. So yeah, pit road will be busy. 4 fresh Goodyear tires full of fuel, and I'm sure a lot of adjustments on some cars.
We were talking Chevrolet and Kyle Larson. Right now his lap times are 0.3 of a second faster than any of the other Chevys. So they certainly have found something. They are first in class. Larson currently 9th. Harvick leading in a Ford. Kyle Busch 3rd, the leading Toyota, as we come to 30 laps.
I think we'll get a more idea about where everybody stands once we all get fresh tires on the car.
Yeah, it's one thing when Kyle Larson has fresh tires and flies up through the field. It'll be something else again when everybody gets a new set of Goodyears.
There's Alan Gustafson, crew chief for Chase Elliott.
Kevin Harvick with the number 1 pit stall at the exit end of pit road. There's a list of the management and the over-the-wall crew.
Hey Mike, real quick, Daniel Smith is not here. He is back in Charlotte. His wife was giving birth to a child, and Jonathan Sherman is a substitute rear tire changer.
Thanks, Larry. Matt Kenseth got the free pass at the lap 30 caution.
So Mike, things might be going Matt's way. You know, the car wasn't that good. Do a little adjusting on it. Maybe you know, it's good opportunity here to get back on lead lap.
Fans, head over to NASCAR.com/fanvote because the Monster Energy NASCAR All-Star Race is coming up. Charlotte Motor Speedway next Saturday night. And if your favorite driver is not already in the big dance, you can vote him in.
I know the Madhouse is just down the road a ways, but Saturday night at Charlotte, that's going to be a madhouse.
Yes, it is. All right, pit road is now open. Jamie.
32 laps in already, you're hearing drivers complaining about their ill-handling race cars. That's what we'll be hearing all night from them. The two of Brad Keselowski into his pit box, says he's tied off at the start of the run, and then he gets loose in and off. 4 tires, Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch pits from 3rd place, loose everywhere. They're going to put the wrench in the back end to try to snug him up. Says he feels like the back end is a little bit too high, and a slight air pressure adjustment as well, Matt.
Ryan Blaney said the car was too free off, especially in the throttle. Meanwhile, Harvick says he needs a little bit more help turning. It's not bad, a little tape on the grill. Jonathan Sherman in the white uniform, many years at Joe Gibbs Racing, part of their championship teams. Lugs on, he's away.
William Byron is the first off pit road with 2 tires.
Yeah, and Blaney was able to beat the 4 team out.
Wasn't a stellar stop on the 4. Good stop, but not outstanding.
We start under the sun. We'll finish under the lights tonight.
Throughout the season, Ford will be searching for the most passionate NASCAR fans to become the first ever inductees into the Ford Hall of Fans. To learn more, go to NASCAR.com/Ford.
William Byron will not be the leader on the restart because he had a tire violation on his 2-tire stop. The tire carrier dropped the tire, returning it to pit wall from the rear of the car. And that is the cause of the penalty right there. Larry, what's the ruling here?
Yeah, I've got the card right here, Mike, and it says crew members must remove tires and wheels from the outside half of their assigned pit box in a controlled manner before the vehicle exits the pit box. So that rule is pretty black and white.
So it looked like everything was timed well, but when that tire fell, that caused the penalty.
You could see that tire changer. He's holding the pit gun and the tire, and it looked like he was trying to not step on the hose as he went around the back of the car, and then the tire hit the quarter panel.
So on the restart, it'll be our front row starters in reverse order, Blaney and Harvick. Harvick to the outside of Ryan Blaney. Brad Keselowski.
I felt like Blaney was closing down on the Harvick just a little bit at the end of that when that 30-lap caution came out. We'll see how he fares here. Everybody kind of on equal terms.
Yeah, he was one of the first cars that went up top and was using both ends of the racetrack at the top and really closed in through traffic on that 4 of Kevin Harvick.
But right there is where that 4 car just impressed the heck out of me. From the center of the corner off, he has such incredible acceleration out of the corner.
Look at Larson on the outside. Here he comes. He owns that high lane all by himself in the middle of the corner.
You know what his theory is? Go where they are not.
Here's some talk about driving lines from Kevin Harvick.
Interested to see how long that top lap. It was pretty major right there the first run, but you'll probably have a little bit of it this run, and then after this next run, it'll start creeping back down once that sun goes down.
And that's what we heard. We talked to Kevin Harvick. That was Rodney. They're talking about the same thing. They felt like the groove would move up for a little while. Then as the sun went down, the track cooled off and get back down around the bottom.
Yeah, I think we'll have to just keep a real close eye on how much fall off. We heard Larry talk about almost 2 seconds of fall off for that first run, being those tires they qualified on. If that gap decreases and it's only maybe a second, I think that's why when the bottom will stay strong later in this race.
8th place here, Kurt Busch passed Hamlin. Let's go up to 4th place, Joey Logano and Kyle Busch.
Yeah, those 2 Penske cars, the 2 and the 22, both running really nice tonight, right there in the top 5. And both look like got pretty good cars.
Well, check your mirrors, because that object getting larger is that green car. It's Kyle Larson. He flew around the outside of Denny Hamlin 2 laps ago to pick up a spot, and he's closing fast on this side-by-side battle of Almirola and Kyle Busch.
Yeah, Almirola, he really likes that bottom, but you see that car up around the top. I felt like that would be like right in Larson's wheelhouse tonight. He loves to ride that wall, and as long as nobody's up there, he's doing it by himself.
Larson thought he had a good chance to win the pole here at Kansas. But in second round qualifying, he went around and spun, which mired him in 24th spot on the grid, and then replacing the tires that he flat spots here sent him to the back of the grid.
Did an excellent job keeping it out of the wall. It could have been a backup car, not just 4 new tires.
Kid's got a lot of talent, no question about that.
And something I've been watching him do, he's been running the bottom right on the white line through 1 and 2, and then the top of 3 and 4. But Kyle Busch saw that he was doing that, started changing his line around a little bit. Now Kyle Busch opens up that top line. We'll see if Kyle can't take advantage of it. But that last time by, he had to get off of that bottom line.
Matt Yoakum.
Chad Johnston felt that they caught a break with their issue starting at the back here, because Larson loves to move around, especially move up to the wall, and that's what he utilized to get himself inside that top 10 and having a strong run. The car built tight early on, then it went to the loose side. No changes on that stop.
Thanks, Matt. Casey Kane has tagged the wall. Have a look at his number 95 off the tight exit of turn 2.
Gets real loose.
He got it pretty good. And Jeff and I were talking about this yesterday in qualifying practice, how this track is so, turn 2 is so difficult. The banking just falls out from under you, and it's real flat coming out of that corner, and it causes you all kind of problems. Though you get pushy loose, just what we saw with the 95 right there.
The momentum of the corners just really trying to shove you out to the wall.
Whoa now.
Yikes.
Well, when you pancake the wall like that, not only do you take the risk of maybe cutting a right side tire, but it definitely will take some side force and downforce out of that race car, make it even looser than it already was.
Kane was another of those cars that did not get a chance to qualify yesterday. Car not making it through inspection in time for him to get on track and post a time. Matt Kenseth in the 6th in the midst of all this. Getting some good tight quarter running in his first time in a stock car in 5 months. Racing for Roush Fenway. Ryan Blaney leads Kevin Harvick by 0.6 of a second. Clint Boyer met up with Chiefs GM Brett Veach, got himself a jersey, traded one. Had some fun being the hometown hero. Emporia, Kansas, not very far from Kansas City.
Tell you what, if I wanted somebody to give me a halftime speech, I'd call up Boyer. Come over here and fire this team up, will you, buddy?
And don't forget Jamie Mack from Joplin, just south of the track, couple-hour drive. The 14 from the back, now running in 10th, and Jamie Mack is 19th.
Harvick says, or Boyer says, I'd rather win this race than win Daytona. That's how important this race is. This is home track. He just lives down the road. It's a big deal to him.
And you heard yesterday, not getting to qualify just deflated him, but he's pumped back up for tonight's race. Vince, how about the 1?
Well, McMurray, he didn't get to qualify in the second round. Remember, he advanced to the second round, but then they couldn't get the car started for the second round. The starter had gone bad and failed, so they had to replace that. But right now, what's giving McMurray the problem is just loose in. Right now, a major issue for the 1. They're just hoping for a clean day. In 11 races, they've had 1 clean race. They finished 3rd in that one, but boy, they just can't avoid mishaps or stepping on their own toe here in the early going.
No, Vince, but his teammate is flying. Kyle Larson around the outside of Kyle Busch.
Yeah, we heard I'm talking about being loose right now on the 1 car. I tell you, he's not alone. Kevin Harvick, I just saw him get completely sideways off of turn 4. Matt?
Concern about 3 laps ago, Kevin Harvick told his team, I think I have a right rear tire going down. And then it was quiet on the radio, and then a lap ago he came back on and said, I'm tight in the center, but I think I'm free on exit. And they feel like that's the feel that he was experiencing, which led him to believe that maybe he might have something amiss.
Yeah, he might, you know, he slowed down for a lap or 2 there, man. I watched his lap times. I thought something was wrong with the car, but now he's picked it back up, and he's running about the same speed as our leader, Blaney. So whatever he thought was wrong seems to have gotten better.
Complaining of no rear grip on the radio. Running a 2.5 seconds behind Ryan Blaney.
I feel like we're seeing a lot more fall off this run than even that first run, which I would have thought would have been the opposite with a green racetrack, with the rain that came and the warmer temperatures.
Blaney loves this place. It's where he made his Cup debut, so that track will always be special to him for that reason. And he says one reason he loves Kansas is the amount of on-throttle time here. You're not off the gas very much, and that plays right into his wheelhouse.
Well, he's a guy that's on everybody. We all know this kid's going to win a race. We don't know where, we don't know when. It might be tonight, but that car, that team, they're just really that good.
Well, he's reminding me of his dad right now. His dad's a sprint car driver, Dave Blaney, and he is up on the cushion like a dirt track racer would be, just flirting right with that edge of the black where the rubber is laid into this racetrack. And I think that's why we're hearing a lot of loose conditions. I think a lot of Goodyear rubber has been laid down on this racetrack.
And the other 2 drivers over there, you know, Logano and Keselowski both told me that bringing that 12 car in-house with Jeremy Bullins has actually made them better. Been a big help.
How about the 5th of those 5 fast Fords up front, Eric Almirola, Jamie?
And about their only weakness this so far in the season after 11 races has been qualifying. John Klossmeyer, the crew chief for Eric Almirola, told me that has been their focus week in and week out. They feel like they have the speed. Their teammate is Kevin Harvick. He's knocked off 4 wins. He just said we need to start better. Well, they did it here. They unloaded with a brand new car. He felt like they were closer to where they needed to be. They qualified 4th, their best effort of the year. So far in the race, he's gone from tight to loose, and at the end, he's a little neutral, so the car not bad.
Yeah, very optimistic about his chances tonight. How about this battle for 10th? Clint Bowyer's Ford against Martin Truex's Toyota.
Well, I mean, I think I felt like Bowyer would be in this position because he started in the back but continued to move forward. But the last thing I thought would happen is Truex in 11th position after starting, what was he, 6th or 7th at the start of this race. I really expected him to be somebody that could battle that 4 car, that 12 car up for the lead.
I agree. The dominance they had on 1.5 miles last year, 2-time champion here. What do you say, Matt?
When you won both races here last year, that would be the guy you would pick, but they have been off slightly the entire weekend. In fact, Cole Pearn had a lot of concern coming in. Truex said moments ago, no grip in the front whatsoever again.
But Larry Mack, the sun's still out. It's still bright daylight. What's going to happen to these cars that are either too loose or have a push once it gets dark?
Yeah, I talked to a lot of crew chiefs, and you know, for years and years and years, when a track would cool down, the cars would tighten up, they would start pushing. But with the setups they're running now, with the aerodynamics, the tire that's being brought, it's almost like as we get into the nighttime, the cars actually get looser. So if you're a little tight right now, it may come to you, but if you're loose right now, like I've heard a lot of drivers, it's only going to get looser.
Well, we're still a little more than half an hour away from sunset here in Kansas City.
And I think those are things that these crew chiefs, Rodney Childers knows that he knows what this track's going to do. He knows what it's going to do when the sun's out. He knows what's 90 degrees. He knows what it's going to do when it's 70 degrees at night, and he'll be able to adjust to those conditions.
4th place, Logano and Almirola, both in Fords, but not teammates. Logano for Team Penske and Almirola for Stewart-Haas. Behind them, Kyle Larson closing. And Jimmy Johnson back in 20th position, 21 seconds off the lead, and they're talking on the radio about how they may pit under green.
Well, he is.
Yeah,
He's coming on pit road now.
I've seen him struggling this year, but not as much as I've seen him struggle so far this weekend, Jamie.
And that's been the case so far in the race, Jeff. That first stop that they had, his foot slipped off the clutch and it fell off the jack, so they had to take extra time on the stop. But that also led to a loose wheel, and that is why Jimmie Johnson just decided to come in. He said, it's terrible, I've got to come in.
So Johnson pits at lap 62. Everyone else was on pit road back at lap 32. So he is now off sequence under green and will go at least one lap down. Ryan Blaney leading by 1.2 seconds after 62 laps. We'll take you side by side on Fox.
Since 1968, Michigan International Speedway has been creating lasting memories with friends, families, and your favorite drivers. This summer, the tradition continues as we celebrate 50 years of good times, week-long entertainment, and racing excitement. Be at the Firekeepers Casino 400 June 10th. Tickets start at $35. Kids 12 and under half off Sunday. Free Friday and Saturday. Free 38 special Saturday post-race concert. Visit mispeedway.com or call 888-905-7223 today.
Toyota, let's go places.
Ladies and gentlemen, the extra crispy kernel.
Bronze and golden, new and tasty. Cut to close-up of the crispy kernel. That's the name of the sandwich, because it's extra crispy like me. Cut back to the sandwich, then cut to me. Cut close on the sandwich, cut close on me. That's too close. Thanks. Let me hear them product attributes. Get the new crispy kernel sandwich with all the fixings for just $5.
$1 million in cash up for grabs. Who wants it?
Welcome back to Kansas. Ryan Blaney up 0.7 of a second on Kevin Harvick. And they are kind of doing a dance back and forth about who has the fastest time on each lap.
Yeah, it's like a rubber band. Harvick that time ran a much quicker lap than Blaney did. And Harvick will get close to Blaney, and it's like Blaney looks at the mirror and said, okay, that's close enough, and drives off and leaves him again.
Meanwhile, teammates Denny Hamlin and Kyle Busch have been keeping station about 10 seconds behind the leaders. And now Kyle looking to make a move to the inside of Hamlin. They've not been trading spots back and forth. Vince, it's just kind of like they've been marking time.
Yeah, and they just told Kyle that Denny was running lap times that were very respectable. Kyle, on the other hand, they told Kyle, maybe see if you can learn something, but they're not even running the same lines around there. Kyle's car incredibly loose. He said, if I put any turn into the wheel at all, the back end wants to swap out. And he emphasized it in 3 ways. No rear grip, zero, nada. Matt?
Going back to practice, Denny Hamlin said his car was edgy right on that line, so Mike Wheeler backed it down a notch because Denny didn't think he could race it sideways like that. It was tight that first run, but he said the initial laps after that stop, the car is more on the tight side. He's moved up top to try to make more time.
Yeah, they're about 2 or 3 tenths off our leaders every lap, so they're not quite where they need to be, but that doesn't mean they won't be before the night's over with.
Yeah, we saw the 18 as we go into turn 3 here. Look at Kyle Busch on a little bit lower line. That's a lot of that's for aerodynamics to get out of that turbulent air behind the 11. But I'm starting to see some more cars like the 4 of Kevin Harvick start to explore that bottom lane just to see, has it come in yet? Because we keep hearing when the sun goes down and cools down, that bottom groove should come back.
Now, Jimmie Johnson was able to make his stop, losing only 1 lap, but he's at the tail end of 1 lap down. And here come Ryan Blaney and Kevin Harvick after him.
Well, he only chose to do lefts. I saw that, and I know that that's going to lose the least amount of time on pit road, but it's also not going to match up very well when you get back on the racetrack. I think those right sides are pretty worn out, so those leaders are still bearing down on him.
But I think he did left because he felt like, and I think the team must agree, they had a left side wheel loose. So I think that's why they went to the left sides only. Get him in, get him out, try to keep him lose as much time as possible.
Coming to 8 laps to go in stage 1 with both Jimmie Johnson and Matt Kenseth working hard to try to stay on the lead lap.
They are, but that also explains why Harvick is closing down on the back of that 12 car, because we're coming to the end of this stage. Pretty sure he'd like to have a few stage points tonight.
And remember, Jimmy's already 1 lap down. He's just trying to keep from going 2 laps down.
Matt?
Mike, you talked about Ryan Blaney's DNA with his family. Legends in the sprint car world, and that's why he likes places where he can keep it in the throttle much more, and that puts extra pressure on Jeremy Bullins and this 12 team, especially here at Kansas, because they know how this racetrack will change and trying to stay ahead of those changes. Right now, before the stage ends, he says the car has really gotten tight near the end.
And Jimmie Johnson has picked it up. Trying to scoot away from the race leader. Chad Knaus has told him, do everything you can not to lose another lap here. He's going to have to hang on for another 6.
Did a big slide job up in front of AJ
Allmendinger. Didn't like that, I don't think.
And AJ actually passed him back.
And here's the leader right on him. And here comes Harvick.
Yeah, a lot of times when you change those left sides like that, you can just completely change the balance on the race car, even though those lefts might have a little more grip.
Allmendinger, he's trying to stay on the lead lap.
I'll tell you right now, Jimmie Johnson driving like he's trying to qualify, staying ahead of that leader right now.
They work past Bubba Wallace. 5 to go. Johnson trying to hang on to be the last car 1 lap down.
Oh, Bubba's got flat right rear tire or something with the rear end.
Boy, better be careful.
Boy, he did a great job not spinning out there.
Yeah,
right,
definitely right rear,
down.
but he better watch out. That thing will blow out, and that thing will spin around on him.
Come to the right rear up. Right rear, help get it up here.
All right, so Wallace goes to the apron trying to make it to pit road. We are still green. And a lot of damage on the right side
and that may have been
the Wallace car.
That may have been what caused that right rear tire to go down. He got into the wall, and maybe that fender's in on the right rear tire and cut it.
Well, we saw him almost hit the wall earlier.
3.5 laps to go as Wallace makes it to pit road from 28th place.
Look at this battle right here. While the 12 is trying to figure out how to get Jimmie Johnson a lap down, here comes Harvick looking to maybe close out the deal here and win this stage.
You know what goes good with Busch beer? Stage wins.
Stage points.
That's playoff points right there.
Yep.
I think what happened to the 4-car Harvick, I think the track went through a bit of a transition, and that's why he thought maybe he was having a problem, and then when he realized he wasn't, he picked it back up.
You can see how aggressive Ryan Blaney's being. The back end hung out a little bit off of turn 2.
Slide job.
And here goes Harvick.
Out there, even. Clear up behind him.
The track no longer in sunshine with 2 to go. This battle for the lead is a break for Johnson. He gets away a little bit. Here's the 48.
Do what you got to do. We could not lose another lap. A couple more laps, man. Stay up there.
I can tell you one thing. Jimmie Johnson's listening because he is doing all he can do.
He's got to hang on for another lap and a half in front of the leaders.
Well, luckily he's looking in his mirror and he sees those leaders side by side. That's the best thing could happen to Jimmie Johnson.
Boy, Harvick gets off turn 4 so nice. Really puts a lot of pressure on the 12. Let's see what he does in 1 and 2.
Last lap of stage 1.
It's funny how they're doing right now, Mike. It's kind of a trade-off. What? Yikes!
Wow,
you can see where
that was close.
Harvick was losing the nose, had to back out of it, but as he his right front fender got to the left rear of the 12, got him loose.
This will be no gift. Here comes Johnson. He's going to stay one lap down. He stays ahead of the leaders. Stage 1 goes to Ryan Blaney.
Good job.
Wow, that was a battle.
He had his hands full, I can tell you that.
Harvick, Keselowski, Logano, and Larson the top 5. Almirola, Hamlin, the Busch brothers, and Boyer the top 10. Ryan Blaney, YRB to his friends, picks up another stage win, his 3rd of 2018. From bright sunshine, we move to twilight at the end of stage 1.
Oh, it's
Ryan
twilight
Blaney,
time.
the stage winner. Kevin Harvick, Keselowski, Logano, 4 Fords in front. Then Kyle Larson's Chevrolet. The first Toyota was Denny Hamlin in 7th, with Kyle Busch right behind.
You know, we heard Larry talk about it's going to get freer, and I agree. I think the front tires are going to work a little bit better as that sun goes down and track cools down. We saw the 12 car hanging the back end out there towards the end of that stage. I'm curious to see if they can make some good adjustments and try to get some rear grip in that car, and he might be able to maintain this lead on that 4 car if he can get ahead of him again off this pit stop sequence.
Before pit stops, how about a quick word from the Busch guy and the number 4 crew?
The real winner.
Oh, gosh.
9 points for second in the stage for our pole sitter, Kevin Harvick. They have pit stall number 1. So let's see how the order changes and what changes are made to these cars as pit road will open this time. For the lead lap cars, there are 23 of them, plus AJ Allmendinger will get the free pass.
12 car is a really nice pit stall also. They have an opening in front of them, so only advantage is that number 1's pit stall for the 4.
Jamie?
And Brad Keselowski in the 2. His setup very similar to the leader and his teammate Ryan Blaney in the 12. He said actually his car's pretty good. He gets tight when he's behind the leader, but it's been very neutral at the end. It'll be a 4-tire stop, Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch, the last stop he pitted from 3rd. This time around he pits from 8th. Just cannot put any wheel in the car, just way too free. 4 tires, going to take out that wedge from the first stop. Matt?
Blaney and Harvick's team both feel like they might have over-adjusted on that last stop. Blaney says his car started off good and free, but then it went to the tight side right near the end of that stage. Harvick said his car was free almost that entire run. That's why he thought he might have had a flat tire. The 12 car wins the battle off pit road.
I think at the camera it was actually the 4 car.
Yeah, we'll double check that. We have Kevin Harvick as the first car out of the pits. The race off is to the white line. That'll be Harvick, even though Blaney had a head of speed to the yellow line. That is where pit road speed limit ends.
Let's talk to YRB. What do you say? Hey, Ryan Blaney and STW, have you got me there, brother?
Yeah, I got you.
Hey, man, you had your hands full holding off the hottest guy in the sport right now. How did that feel to win that stage, and can you keep it up?
Yeah, it felt pretty good. That was pretty exciting. Me personally, I wouldn't have liked it to be that exciting, being the leader, but we hit some lap traffic and slowed us down. And, that was pretty close. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it, but I think our Rev Fleetwood Ford is pretty decent right now. We just got to keep, changing with the track as it changes through the night, so hopefully we can stay on top of that.
All right, my man, you're looking good. Keep it up, and maybe we'll talk to you at the end of the next stage.
Thank you.
Chris Buescher, uncontrolled tire on his pit stop, but Ryan Blaney is our stage 1 winner. Welcome back to Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series racing from Kansas. Stage 1 complete. Ryan Blaney the winner. Kevin Harvick first off pit road ahead of Blaney, Keselowski, Hamlin, Logano, and Almirola. So Denny Hamlin comes out fourth. Here's why. He's the leader of our Xfinity fastest pit stops on that yellow flag stop.
Well, look how close they are. I mean, you're talking about 0.3, 0.3, 0.4. You know, it's so tight on pit road with those pit stops.
And Jeff, it's just so little means so much now. In the cars, in the pits, on the track, just means so much. Little bitty increments mean so much.
1 to go. 24 cars on the lead lap. And trying to get a lap back will be Matt Kenseth, Jimmy Johnson, Michael McDowell, and Casey Kane. A number of other cars 2 or 3 laps down. Now Kyle Larson will restart 8th. And you see he was just as fast down pit road as Ryan Blaney, but a second slower on the stop.
Well, that's the thing. A second under green is nothing like a second under caution. Now, that cost him a lot of positions.
Yeah, I think this is pretty interesting. We'll see how which line is the preferred line. We got Harvick down the bottom here. Looks like he's going to start on the inside. We got Blaney on the outside. See how this works out for these 2 front runners.
Yeah, I think, you know, even talking to Kevin earlier, hearing from Rodney Childers, they definitely believe that as this track cools down, that bottom groove is going to be the preferred one.
Yeah, if you can jump back in the gas and stay in it like Harvick usually can, it's probably going to pay off for him.
The lights are on in Kansas. Sunset officially about 12 minutes away. And we're going to race deep into the night to complete 400 miles here on a beautiful spring night. All 3 Penske cars in the top 5 as we approach the Geico restart zone.
No surprise here. Larson's going to take him 3 wide through 1 and 2.
Boy, he
way up high to the outside. He's going to get 3 of them.
And Jeff, he timed that restart perfectly. He was able to jump outside where there was clear sailing, and he's taking advantage of that now.
That boy's elevator goes right to the top and stays there.
It does. And right now he's on it by himself.
And he might get Logano here also. No, not quite. There's a big advantage if you can get it wound up and run to the top and not lift and have that clean air on that outside. But I mean, you got to be pretty brave to do it.
What's his restart though, Jeff? He nails the restart perfectly.
Yeah,
you don't see him. You don't see him.
11's gonna get in the rear bumper of the 12. That stop slows the momentum down. That's when he jumps outside the 10.
And everybody dives to the bottom, and it's wide open.
Here's
and
where
there
he really
goes.
makes up time. Look at him get up top there and just jump in the gas in the middle of the corner.
Kind of one of those Kyle Busch restarts. I've seen him do stuff like that.
Side by side for third. Little slide by Logano into turn number 1, battling his teammate Keselowski. And here comes Larson.
Larson gets that high. He gets such a run off the corner when he can run that high line. Gives a lot of straightaway speed.
But it's going to go to the bottom and use the low line this time.
Kyle Larson is going to make this night difficult for a lot of people.
Yeah, I think you're right. He just made it difficult for Joey Logano. He slid right up in front of Joey, or no, I'm sorry, Brad Keselowski. And I don't think Keselowski appreciated that.
Completes the pass off of turn 2 on Brad Keselowski.
Mike, this track is getting right. Those lap times are increasing every time we go, every lap we're making now.
Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, and Ryan Newman just ran their fastest laps of the race so far, and David Reagan.
I think that will continue to improve.
Jamie.
Well, Brad Keselowski on that last stop said the car was pretty good. They didn't even make an adjustment on it, just put 4 tires. 1 lap in, he's yelling that the car won't turn. He said it is so tight. This track has definitely tightened up.
That only makes sense. When the sun goes down, the track cools a little bit, you're going to pick up a little bit of grip.
Larry?
Yeah, watching Joey Logano in his 22 car, I talked to his crew chief, Todd Gordon, this morning in the garage area. It was an interesting conversation. He said normally the 2, the 22, and the 12, we come to the racetrack set up alike. But he said we came here committed to try something different, to see if we could have the speed of the Stewart-Haas cars. And I said, yeah, when you get that decal right there, that's a game changer. And the decal I was pointing to is from that win at Talladega. But he said even if they came here and it didn't work, they're still committed to keep working with it to try to figure it out before we get to the playoffs.
Thanks, Larry. Daniel Suarez on pit road under green, Vince.
Well, they believe they did not get the right front wheel tight. Suarez said immediately there was a vibration, and he was pretty confident it was in the right front. They felt like they didn't get it tight, didn't want to take any chances. Brought him in. They'll go ahead and replace all 4 tires.
He was 20th. And still time to overcome that. Great battle for the free pass position. Matt Kenseth in the 6. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. 7, 8 championships between them, and they're battling to be the first car 1 lap down.
They really are, and that's a heck of a battle right there. I mean, that's a hornet's nest. About 3 or 4 of them just going at each other. I'm pretty sure that Matt Kenseth said he didn't have a lot of expectations for this race tonight, but I think Jimmy Johnson might have had a little higher expectations for this race tonight.
Yeah,
Don't think we thought he'd be a lap down here.
I'm also pretty sure he thought if I'm racing Jimmy Johnson, I might be having a pretty good night.
Well, it's early.
And
third place, and here comes Larson.
He's tenacious. When I watch him drive, he reminds me of so many drivers. Cale Yarborough comes to mind because Cale was that way, relentless. Dale Earnhardt was that way, relentless. He could see a car in front of him, he would not quit till he could get by that guy.
I think the difference with Larson is he'll run any place on the racetrack, high, low, anywhere where he can find speed.
Well, what I love about his background and his talent is that he never stops searching, and that's what you do on a dirt track. You try the bottom groove, the middle groove, the top groove. All that dirt experience, to me, really helps him when you see a racetrack like this that has so many different grooves, and that you can change the car's balance by the way you drive that car into the corner.
Kansas is one of 10 tracks where Kyle Larson has finished second, but has not yet won.
See, a lot of times you say he's a good wheel man. I think he's a good throttle man. I think that kind of raced on the dirt as he does, I think that knowing when to get in the gas, get out of the gas, work the throttle is what really makes him good.
Also, these cars, we hear a lot of drivers talk about being really tight. The front tires just don't work very well in the center of the corner. Takes somebody to be able to run into the corner pretty loose. That's why when you watch his wheel, watch him go into the corner. A lot of times he's almost turning to the right as he turns in the corner. Here he goes to the left. Look how little wheel he's actually turning. That tells me that car's pretty free getting to the center.
Well, what are you doing? What are you doing in a sprint car?
Turn it to the right.
Turn right to go left.
Yeah, that's right.
That's what Doc Hudson said.
That's right.
Good advice.
I think he's just trying to get to the left rear quarter panel and side draft Joey Logano and possibly get that position down on the bottom groove into the next corner.
Now this is all happening 4 seconds behind Kevin Harvick and 3 seconds back of second place Ryan Blaney. ...101 laps complete.
Wow, oh, there's a dive slide job. That was amazing, but I don't think
here
he's
comes
quite
Logano
gonna
back.
make it.
Whoa, that's close. That's too close.
That's good racing
I
right
really
there.
don't think Logano saw that coming, but he did a nice job recovering and sort of jumping back in the throttle to keep that pass from happening.
I'm sure Logano said, I don't know what you call that, but I don't like it.
Well, it shows Kyle Larson's not the only one who can make that high groove work off turn number 2. How about and here it goes again. This time Larson to the bottom, and here comes Logano back. Logano back on the bottom. He's going to get right to Larson's bumper. Hello.
Let me give you a shove, brother.
And Larson prevails for the moment as they come up on a lapped car.
What so reminds me of Carl Edwards several years ago trying to do that against Jimmy Johnson for the win.
My favorite thing Carl Edwards said, it worked in a video game.
Kevin Harvick, your leader after 103 laps in Kansas. "108 laps, Kevin Harvick out in front. Brad Keselowski had to make a pit stop, thought he had a loose wheel. And how are things on the 4? Matt?
Mike, the previous run, Harvick thought he had a tire going down. It proved just to be a loose race car. A few moments ago, he radioed Rodney Childers with this.
Looking through more video here, but the changers feel good about them. I'll let you know. Just remember, we always have a lot of vibrations here.
Neither one of those things are very comforting to me.
No, but you know what? I like the way Rodney is reassuring Kevin that they've looked at the video. They seem like they're pretty comfortable with the decisions they made. They think they're pretty good shape. So got to play it, got to run it out.
Jamie, what happened with Keselowski?
And he was fifth. He said he had a tire shatter. Then he said he thought he had a loose wheel. Paul Wolf, his crew chief, said if it gets worse, bring it in. We can make it to the end of the stage from here. He did that. It was indeed a left rear loose wheel.
So Keselowski is now 1 lap down. He is the second car a lap down behind Jimmy Johnson.
You know, it's funny to you, and Larry, I don't know why are we having so many loose wheels tonight? What the heck's going on?
And specifically left rears, Larry.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have an answer, DW. I'd love to have an answer why it's just the left rear, but I just, you know, I've talked to so many crew chiefs over the last couple of weeks, and they said we have a lot of things going on pit stops because we continue to try to get faster with the rules of going from 6 to 5 crew members this year. And he said everybody is multitasking. The jackman's multitasking, the carrier, the tire changers, everybody's multitasking, and you're trying to cut stops off like you had last year. And he said they told me it's just almost impossible to get there.
But these green flag stops are painful. Keselowski pitted from 5th place. He is now 24th, a lap down.
Well, Larry, I don't know. I've talked to a few guys, and everybody tells me that the hardest thing they have on the car right now is to get that left rear tire out off the car when they go to change it. It's hard to get out of the wheel well, and it's even harder to get it back in. So there's got to be something. There's got to be a common denominator in there somewhere.
Let's get more on our leader.
And Mike, Cheddar Bob Smith, the car chief, and Walt Smith, one of the 3 pit crew coaches, looked over the film of that stop, and they both reported back the film looked great, lugs looked perfect.
So, drive it?
I'll tell you what, if they say it looks good, they're comfortable with that decision, I would just have to keep going.
I wish my portfolio looked like Kyle Larson's graph tonight. Although I wouldn't want one to have started where he started, but look at that.
Boy, that's a climb.
That's beautiful.
Looks like Mount Everest.
All green.
He's going to be a Kansas City star, it looks to me like.
Think if he'd started up front.
Yeah, no kidding.
Look how high that groove is. I mean, it is literally inches away from the wall.
I look up every now and then. I think, oh, they're in the wall, but they just are right on. They're right on them. But I love the way Larson explains it, though. They call that riding the wall, and they literally are riding the wall.
And as these leaders have caught traffic, he has caught the leaders, meaning Larson.
Jeff, with these cars, these Generation 6 cars, when they are that close to the wall, is there a cushion of air that develops between you and the wall to actually kind of help keep you off it?
I think there's always been a bit of a cushion, but when you look at how flat the right sides of these cars are and how that air directs to the spoiler, there's no doubt that it actually helps the side force and sort of straightens the car out a bit.
Guys, once Daniel Suarez and Brad Keselowski in particular hit pit road and got those 4 fresh tires, and you heard them, they were told that they could make it to the end. I've been watching their lap times to see how much they were gaining. Yeah, Keselowski has worked himself into the free pass position, but I just don't see a huge gain. So I think what you'll see is these guys will run it out there to about lap 65 of lap 80 of this stage. That would be the full run of fuel.
Thanks, Larry. Kevin Harvick leading Ryan Blaney now by half a second. Well, Brad Keselowski has made another pit stop. They jacked up the left side this time, so that'll take him away from the free pass position, and 2 of the Gibbs cars now in. Jamie?
And Eric Jones been struggling with the handling of this car tonight. They've been making adjustments each stop. They wanted to bring it in, make some adjustments with air pressure and 4 tires. The 48 is coming down pit road as well.
Denny Hamlin was also in, splitting the stage in half with his stop. Here come Kurt Busch, Martin Truex, and others. Jamie?
And Kurt Busch in the 41 just been struggling with loose, extremely loose by the end of the run. A 4-tire stop for him. He's been using his track bar adjuster to try to help that situation. You see Paul Menard in the 21 making his pit stop too, Matt.
Truex is in on the previous stop. They made a packer change, trying to get the splitter off the ground, trying to raise that up. You can see they had a wrench in the back window doing a chassis adjustment. He says the car, he gets any close to anyone else, just swings big time to the tight side. Jamie?
And Eric Almirola in the 10, he gets extremely tight too. It's interesting depending on what team and how their car is swinging at this point in the race. You jack them up, air pressure adjustment, track bar has been working. A 4-tire stop. Kevin Harvick is on pit road.
Clint Bowyer is in, as well as Chase Elliott. William Byron comes to a stop. Ty Dillon is in, and Harvick making his way down to the final pit stall. Jamie McMurray in, and more. Matt?
Everyone seems to be coming in. The 22's in as well. Kevin Harvick, and you can see they were going back and forth about making a chassis adjustment. Jonathan Sherman on the front, filling in for Daniel Smith, still waiting for the birth of his child. Meanwhile, Eric Maycroft on the front, solid stop, a little bit of time left on the front. He is away.
Almost contact between Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. Getting onto pit road. Vince?
Well, the 18 of Kyle Busch had to come into his box around the 6 of Matt Kenseth. Kyle liked that last adjustment. They're going to give him more of the same. Put that wrench in the left rear and 4 tires. Matt?
The only hiccup Ryan Blaney has seen much of this last stage is his AC, his cool air system has gone out. They told him to switch it off just in case it might cause another electrical issue. You also saw the 42 of Kyle Larson. He said near the end, before he hit pit road, the car had gone to the tight side. An air pressure adjustment for him.
Austin Dillon picks up the lead. Let's show you getting onto pit road. Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney.
Got pretty crazy right here, Mike. 42 all over the back of the 12. And right there, Blaney locked him up a little bit.
Well, he slows down, and he knows that's a big segment there that's being timed, and he was a little bit too fast coming into it, so he tried to make up for it.
2, 1, all 4 below the orange box now.
That transition off the track, you saw the car bottom out. I think that messed him up on the entry.
A great sequence of pit stop, green flag pit stop for the 42 of Larson. He is right on the rear bumper of our of Kevin Harvick, who eventually will be the leader.
Now Matt Kenseth lost some time. He had to back up to get out of his pit after Kyle Busch came into the pit in front of him. Did not leave Kenseth enough room to get out. Here's a look at it. Had to put it in reverse first.
Oh, man.
And then was able to get out and away.
I think Matt just wants to run this race tonight, get some information about the cars. I don't think he wants to make any waves.
You can see Matt was pretty deep in the box already, which made it very difficult to get around the 18.
Yeah, he didn't push the issue there. He let the 18 get going.
So here's our leader. Austin Dillon is the only car on the lead lap who has not yet pitted. What do you think of this strategy, Larry?
Yeah, I mean, they can go to, again, about 65 right here of 80. Now they're just giving up so much time, though. Once we started seeing that outbreak of drivers making those green flag pit stops, I think that's why we saw everybody coming. They knew they had to make at least one stop in this stage, and right now they're giving up over a second a lap with that 3 car, and they don't have that many drivers a lap down.
Well, let's have a look at the green flag pit stop cycle. You'll see William Byron at the top because he took only 2 tires on that stop.
Oh, wow. And you can see what 4 seconds there, the savings of not doing 4 tires.
This is for second place, 7 seconds behind race leader Austin Dillon.
Now over a second faster Kevin Harvick was that time versus the 3 of Austin Dillon, as he now, I believe, is on pit road.
But look at the difference in the line, Mike. 42, Larson right up next to the wall. Harvick right around the bottom on the white line. And they end up about the same spot when they get the end of the straightaway. See Larson go high. Kevin's down here around the bottom.
Vince?
Well, the 3, like so many others, just trying to find some grip. They need that improved balance. You saw the wrench in the right rear 4-tire change for the 3 of Austin Dillon. Currently came into the pits in the 12th spot, dropping down into this green flag run.
Well, that will turn the lead over to Kyle Larson. Over Kevin Harvick, Ryan Blaney, and the Busch brothers.
What an awesome move by Kyle Larson. Kevin Harvick's going to go to the bottom here in 1 and 2. Larson fakes him low, goes high, and then jumps in the gas. Look at the momentum that he's going to carry. Now, this isn't over yet. Now he gets a big run. Kevin even starts to block him a little bit, sees that run coming, but cannot keep that momentum behind him.
You know, remember the last time Kevin tried to block the 42? California. Didn't work out so good for the 4 car.
Watch Joey Logano going top to bottom on Almirola and the 13 of Ty Dillon. He started out back, and now Kyle Larson, after 132 laps, has his nose in the wind.
Coming back on the outside, the 18 cube after the big run. You're clear by 2.
Yeah, guys, it's getting real bad. Okay.
We'll be doing left side tires. 42's fastest car. He's kicking everyone, turning 60s. If he gets up there, he's going to win the race.
Kyle Larson is the race leader by 9/10 of a second over Kevin Harvick, who is not at all happy.
We've been tightening it up every time. Maybe you do, it's not working.
Don't you love Rodney? Rodney Childers, 10-4, we tighten it up every time.
But that's the thing, a great crew chief and a combination crew chief driver, when one is excited, the other one's calm. That's what makes it all work.
Yeah, what I don't like is when you got a car and you don't complain about it, and then you get yourself in a battle with somebody, and then you start complaining about it. So Kevin is getting ahead of the curve, I think. He needs to tighten that car up so he can run with that 42.
Yeah, that to me, it's not always about putting a number with it. You know, we've heard people say on a scale from 1 to 5, 1 to 10, it's about your tone of voice and how excited you get. That tells you how far you need to go in the next adjustment.
I agree, and that's where these two work so well together, Jeff. They've been together for a while. They know what they can read each other's mind.
Rodney Childers was a great late model racer, now one of the greatest crew chiefs in the garage area for Kevin Harvick. 140 complete, 20 to go here in stage 2.
Just like what I like about Rodney Childers and other guys that have driven, when a driver is complaining, when a driver's voice goes up an octave or two, they understand that they need to they got to do something. I got to react to my driver because he's not happy, because they've been there, they've done that, and they know what it feels like.
9th place there. Nice run for David Reagan. You saw him just going a lap down. Race leader Kyle Larson and Kevin Harvick had been on the lead lap to this point. Leaves us 18 cars on the lead lap. Truex battling Bowyer.
Well, they've been battling a lot tonight.
Well, we know with the Disco Tech Station, NASCAR very carefully regulates about all the shapes on the bodies of these cars. So, Larry, if you're going to work on aerodynamics, where are you going to be?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely hold them tight tolerances on the body. But what we learned during the off-season is teams are definitely working on the underside of the car. Now, as the air goes underneath the side of the car, the pressure drops. But what they've been doing, Mike, they've been working with the bell housing area, the exhaust pipes, to get this air out the left rear wheel well in front of the left rear tire. And what that will do, the more you can get that air to go out that opening, driving, it increases rear downforce and actually reduces the drag to straightaway speed. So NASCAR still gives the team some liberties to work on the underside of the car.
Well, Larry, I can tell you, walking up and down pit road, I don't know how any air gets under the car. These things are touching the ground before they ever leave pit road. It's so amazing how low these cars are. But again, I think it's back to that a little bit's a lot. If there's a little bit of air, a lot of it doesn't matter if you can do something with it or control it or use it to your advantage. That's what they're looking for.
Eric Almirola in the 10 and 7th. They're going to split Gray Galding in the 23. You're riding along with Austin Dillon, who was 1 lap down, and 22nd in the number 3.
Yeah, we had talked about that gamble of staying out longer on those older tires to make that green flag stop. And this was the downside. The upside was if the caution came out when he was in the lead, but that was a gamble that's right now not paying off.
Alex Bowman trying to battle Denny Hamlin here for 12th place.
And yeah, he's our next highest Chevrolet other than Larson's, who's leading this race. We hadn't seen a whole lot out of Chevys, but Bowman's right there in 13th, going for 12th.
17 lead lap cars back to William Byron. Ricky Stenhouse right now in the free pass position. Let's go side by side.
So you guys have recently started dating?
Yes. A little less than a month.
Coming up on 2 months now, yeah.
Cool. I want to show you guys these 3 Chevy SUVs. The first one is called the Trax.
Beautiful.
Do you think it would be good for moving in together?
Moving in together?
Okay. Well, this is the Chevy Equinox.
Wow. Nice.
Perfect for when you 2 have your first kid.
Give me some time.
Okay. This is the Traverse for when you have your 5 kids, 2 dogs, and 1 cat.
Oh. 5?
Well, no matter what stage of life you're in, Chevy has an SUV for you.
You have it all planned out. Thanks.
While cars, tracks, and drivers may change, the smooth citrus taste that drives us remains the same. Only Mellow Yellow.
Ladies and gentlemen, the extra crispy kernel.
Bronze and golden, new and tasty. Cut to close-up of the crispy kernel. That's the name of the sandwich, because it's extra crispy like me. Cut back to the sandwich, then cut to me. Cut close on the sandwich, cut close on me. That's too close. Thanks. Let me hear them product attributes. Get the new crispy kernel sandwich with all the fixings for just $5.
This is our magnificent mile and a half. These are our monsters of the Speedway. And this year, Midsummer Racing returns to the Midwest. Stars and Stripes NASCAR Weekend is summer's biggest party. Featuring a concert by Randy Houser before the Overton's 400 at Chicagoland Speedway, the Windy City's home for racing. June 28th through July 1st. Get your tickets now at ChicagolandSpeedway.com.
Amazing day.
$1 million in cash up for grabs. Who wants it?
This summer, the World Cup is coming to Fox and FS1. Every match live, over 300 hours of coverage. The world's biggest sporting event. It begins June 14th on Fox and FS1. Here in Kansas, 151 complete, 9 to go in stage 2. Kyle Larson, a second and a half up on Harvick, Blaney, Kyle Busch, and Logano. Martin Truex in 10th, trying to get the final point of this stage. 17 cars on the lead lap. William Byron, who took just 2 tires on his pit stop, trying to hang on to the tail end of the lead lap. as we close in on the end of this stage.
Yeah, Mike, I think, you know, obviously the sun's gone down now. It's dark outside. The temperature, I'm just outside. The temperature has dropped a good bit outside, too. Still a little humid, but, Larry, I think conditions are getting right.
Well, Darrell, when we get to the end of this stage here in about 8 laps, that pit stop's going to be critical. The adjustments these crew chiefs make, because, yeah, we're going to be into the nighttime. And think about it. We're going to go back racing with roughly 100 laps to go, so you're down to a one-stop race should we run this thing out green.
We have not had a caution flag tonight, except for the competition yellow and the green and white checkers at the end of stage 1.
Tell you one thing, I don't know why some of them hadn't knocked the wall down, because they have been up there against it. I can tell you that.
You can't put a piece of paper between them and the wall.
But keep in mind, this track has a progressive banking. It's steeper at the top than at the bottom, and that makes it a great multi-groove racetrack.
And again, I go back to Kevin Harvick. You know, earlier he and Rodney Childers had a conversation about he felt like the bottom groove was going to be the way to go once the sun went down, but that has really not been the case. And it might be just for that reason, Mike, is that progressive banking is making up too much ground on the top.
But I have watched Harvick, and he's pretty much committed to the bottom. I haven't seen him venture off the bottom very often, maybe to pass another car, but pretty much hanging right around the bottom of the racetrack.
Matt Harvick was complaining early in this stage about having no grip, and they had not improved the car at all. What's he saying lately?
Mike, at about the 3/4 mark, he says the car still just over-rotates and almost steps out on him every single lap. He can't wait 5 to go until they can make an adjustment on that 4.
And I think that radio conversation we heard between he and Rodney Childers, his crew chief, Rodney knows he's got to do something. He's got to help that car on this stop, so he'll be really throwing everything he's got at it.
Here we are again with Jimmie Johnson trying to stay just 1 lap down as we get to the end of this stage. 4 to go, and Larson closing in.
Yeah, boy, it's just not been a great weekend for Jimmie Johnson. That 48 team, going to be hard to keep this Chevrolet behind him. Larson is really just making so much time up top right now, and really can take his car about anywhere he wants.
There are only 6 cars 1 lap down. Stenhouse, Reagan, Buescher, Allmendinger, Austin Dillon, and Jimmie Johnson.
But I love the way Kevin Harvick at the end of these stages, he picks it up and closes on that leader. I don't think he can get to the 42 car, but he's going to be right on his bumper.
Well, and that's going to weigh on Rodney Childers in the decision making of what to do, as we heard Larry McReynolds talk about. Yeah, he needs an adjustment, but it just seems like he starts really loose and eventually starts to gain.
But he's the fastest car on the racetrack.
Yeah, but
so what do you change?
Well, he did lose the lead, though, and he, hasn't won a stage yet.
But he's not complaining. He's reporting. He's telling Rodney what the car is doing. Maybe, maybe he has a little urgency in his voice, but I wouldn't call that complaining. I think he's just telling them they got to get to work.
Now, wait a minute. That's not what you said when you listened to my radio when I was driving.
Trying to give him a benefit of the doubt.
That was complaining.
Yeah. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you, crew chief.
Well, crew chiefs, you jump on that guy all the time.
1 to go.
I thought it was really good information.
In stage 2. Jimmie Johnson just might squeak this one. Nope. Nope. Here they come to the flag. And
wow, he actually completed that.
Jimmy's going to be 2 laps down. Kyle Larson, stage 2 winner. Harvick, Blaney, Kyle Busch, Logano. And the rest of the stage points: Almirola, Kurt Busch, Bowyer, Jones, and Truex. Kyle Larson, first stage win for him since Homestead last November. Darkness descends on Kansas Speedway. Kyle Larson, the winner of stage 2, Ryan Blaney stage 1. And pit road will be open this time for the 17 lead lap cars. Ricky Stenhouse will get the free pass. Here's Jamie.
Eric Almirola said he had less grip that run, just stuck in traffic. He said, don't touch the chassis. I want you guys to have a solid stop here. Just mess with the air pressure to help me out, but I need some clean air if I can get anywhere. Vince?
Well, the 18 of Kyle Busch, he started out too tight that run, and then it swung too loose. So they're trying to figure out a way to make that transition a little bit smoother. For the 4th straight stop, they put the wrench in the rear end, go to make a chassis adjustment. Matt?
On Pete's guys going to work on the 42. Larson slides in a little bit in the box. He said the car in clean air, neutral, a little bit tight in traffic, but really great lap times. The 12 of Blaney started out tight on the splitter and then came back around, not too bad at the end. Meanwhile, Harvick, chassis adjustment on the 4. You heard his comments earlier. It's just way too free.
Kyle Larson not only wins the stage, he wins the race off pit road. By a car length over Kevin Harvick.
Hey, Kyle, this is Jeff up in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, congrats on that stage win. Man, from the back to the front, you've got a heck of a race car and you're driving the wheels off of it. Tell us what it's like from your perspective.
Yeah, our Clover first data Chevy is fun to drive. He was able to get to the top 10 pretty quick there that first little run, and then have a good restart there that last time, and then good green flag cycle for us, and was able to win the stage. So it was our first stage of the year. Happy about that. Hopefully we can capitalize on it and get a win later.
All right, well, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to some more of those slide jobs. Have a good night.
Yeah, thank you.
He won 2 stages at Homestead last November. This is the first stage win since then for Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, your leader, getting ready for stage 3. Let's join Jamie down at the eBay pit box.
Well, Mike, during night races, pit crews use different techniques to help them see better during pit stops. You see those lit signboards behind me most teams have, and some of the pit crew members, they wear lights on their helmets. Well, the 2-car, Brad Keselowski, he has a yellow card tonight. He has yellow wheels. That's the Penske way. Well, lug nuts are usually yellow. That makes it very difficult to see, so the team got creative, and they painted all of the lugs pink for every set of tires. I'd like to think it's just for Mother's Day.
Oh. Shop every part for every ride at ebay.com/motors. Now, when World Cup coverage starts on Fox, yellow card has a whole different meaning.
It does. But, we better wish all the moms a happy Mother's Day tomorrow. And Stevie, Jessica, Sarah, you guys at home, there's some moms here with their kids at the race tonight.
Yeah, Michael handed out a bunch of roses in the pre-race, and yep, happy Mother's Day to all the moms and wives out there. And we'll all be home tomorrow.
Yeah, I was going to say, it's going to be nice to spend some time with our moms or wives and family tomorrow.
Next Saturday night, restrictor plate racing comes to Charlotte. What will the NASCAR All-Star race be like? Wow.
I can't wait. I think it's going to be spectacular.
I think it's going to be wild and crazy. I mean, the All-Star race is always wild and crazy, but I think it's going to elevate itself even higher.
Guys, if you had told me that up to this point, Kevin Harvick would have no major issues and no stage wins, I would have said you're crazy. I really thought he was going to dominate this race.
Agreed. Pace cars in. Here they come toward the Geico restart zone for stage 3. Larson, Harvick, front row. Clint Boyer wound up. No, it's Kurt Busch wound up on the outside that time and gained a bit of ground and dropped underneath Martin Truex. They fight side by side for 6th.
Harvick's using a little bit different line up front, trying to get by Larson, and I think right now Mark Truex Jr. is going, wait a minute, is that the 14 or the 41? He's been battling with that black and red car all night long, but it's been Bowyer typically. Now it's Kurt Busch. And here comes Bowyer, 3 wide.
3 wide, you're in the middle.
Don't want to hear that.
Still 3 wide.
Oh, he shot out there. Good job.
All clear, nice work.
Oh, the 10 gets real loose. Almirola got real loose on the bottom, getting into 3.
Yeah, Almirola had a problem on the restart. He didn't take off, and he got in a bunch of traffic.
They were 4 wide for a moment there.
Tell you one thing, Mark Truex Jr. keeping that 10 car pinned down as they came off turn 2.
Yeah, Almirola was positioned just off Truex's rear quarter as if trying to loosen him up. Didn't happen.
No, it didn't. But, you know, Almirola had a bad restart there to come into the green, and he fell back. He's been running at the top 5 or 6 most of the evening.
Well, there are no such thing as good vibrations here, are there?
Vibration. Keep me posted on when you feel like we're in a window to make it.
Kyle Busch with the vibration.
Well, and Vince, I'm curious to hear about Kyle Busch because we've heard him talk about vibrations many times. He was pretty calm right then.
Yeah, and you know, certainly not the issue that they had last week at Dover where they had a drivetrain issue. Human error caused that, and of course ended up with a DNF and finished 35th. But that's the first he had mentioned of the vibration. Maybe they didn't get one of the wheels tight. Crew has tires on the wall, but they're still waiting to hear more from Kyle.
It's just been amazing to me tonight how many how many people have complained about vibrations, loose wheels. It's unbelievable.
Well, Chase Elliott in the 9 was the other Chevrolet in the top 10 besides Kyle Larson, but now Paul Menard takes that spot. Chase was just a couple of car lengths away from going a lap down at the end of stage 2. Made a good pit stop and rebounded.
All these other Chevy teams, including teammate Jamie McMurray to Kyle Larson, have to be scratching their heads going, how is he able to make that Chevrolet so fast?
I tell you, sometimes it's the seat.
It's the steering wheel. Right?
Larson leading Harvick by 0.7 of a second. Now 1 lap down, David Reagan's in the free pass position ahead of Buescher, Allmendinger, and McDowell. You got some real star power 2 laps down. Suarez, Keselowski, Jimmy Johnson, Matt Kenseth, Casey Kane, all 2 laps down.
Mike, you know what's going to happen? In about middle of the season, the Chevrolet boys will get their cars all figured out, and Jimmy Johnson will be singing, "How do you like me now?"
How about a Mother's Day is tomorrow? Fox NASCAR, crank it up.
Quarterback, I need tight. You're all clear. Is he, he's not early. Still out there, keep coming with it, keep coming, still there. He's so worried about blocking me, let's get go by both of us. Get back up there over the 21. Clear, 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 clear. Clear by 1.5. Clear by 2. There you go, bud. Clear by 2. Clear by 1 now. Run your line, you pull away from them.
Best in the business, 16 out of 17 years. Best live event audio at the Sports Emmys awarded this week to NASCAR on Fox. Our thanks to everybody that helps brings the sounds of the game home to you. 87 laps to go. Kyle Larson leading Kevin Harvick by a second and Ryan Blaney by 2 seconds. This spectacular 18-time rollover at Daytona is not why we remember Maynard Troyer. He dominated the big money modified races in gorgeous cars he built. Racers wanted copies, he started production. Troyer's asphalt and dirt modified soon became the standard and are still winning today. Thursday, Maynard Troyer passed age 79. .81 laps to go in Kansas. Kyle Larson leading Kevin Harvick now by 1.4 seconds. Let's have a look at tonight's Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Well, I just don't think this guy's shown all that he's capable of tonight. He swept both of these races last year. He's our past champion. I got my eye on Martin Truex Jr. to win this race.
Jeff, Eric Almirola has led more laps here at Kansas than any other track, and the only track he has more top 10s in Kansas is Talladega. He may not win this race, but I bet he adds to that top 10 list tonight.
Larry, I hate to do this to you guys. I would take the 4 against the field, but he's got 2 wins on a mile and a half. He's been runner-up on the other 2. 4 car, no-brainer.
My guy is giving it all he's got. He's leading the race and he's driving away. I'm taking Kyle Larson not because where he is right now, but how he got there. He raced from the back of the pack, running faster lap times than everyone all race long. That's going to continue, and Larson takes that beautiful number 42 to victory lane.
I don't think so. Ryan Blaney started on the front row. This is where he made his Cup debut. It's one of his favorite racetracks due to all the on-throttle time. I think the 12 is just one adjustment away from victory lane. Darrell, we'll all just have to agree to disagree, right?
Yeah. Well, if he can make the right adjustment, you might be right. He's been fast all night. We know that.
Can you tell anybody tell Michael had first pick? No. I don't know where that mythical golden horseshoe went, but there is a 4-leaf clover on the front of Kyle Larson's car.
There sure is.
Now let's have a look at some folks that have fallen back a bit. What's happened to Clint Bowyer, Jamie?
Well, Mike, he came into this weekend really feeling like he had the best shot at winning this race since 2007 when he finished second. Well, this car has been a handful tonight. He is screaming on the radio, just saying how loose he is, running 12th right now, trying to protect that position, saying he is down about 3 inches on the track bar. He can't go anymore at this point.
Seems like he and Denny Hamlin have been side by side half the night.
Yeah, but the Stewart-Haas cars are all pretty good. Harvick's second, and then the 10 is 8th, and they're all right there except for Bowyer, and he's a 12th, but still pretty good shape. Matt.
DW still haven't been able to hit that sweet spot on the 11. Once again, free the last run. They took a packer out of the left front and made a wedge adjustment. It's still not tightened up.
Vince, how about the 5th place car?
Kyle Busch just told crew chief Adam Stevens they just don't feel like he's been able to keep the rear tires under him. Actually, all 4 tires under him just don't have the grip that they anticipated having. They were very optimistic coming into this race. One of the strengths of this team is adjusting as they go along, and they've taken swings at it every stop they've come. They've got one more stop to make. We'll see if that's a difference maker.
3 of the Hendrick cars running 11th, 14th, and 15th. Alex Bowman in the 14th spot, 16 seconds off the lead. And right behind him, William Byron, who has had a little different tire strategy, a couple of 2-tire stops. And Chase Elliott leading the Hendrick brigade there in 11th.
All the race cars are good, and they're not bad. They just can't keep up with this cat here in the 42 or the Fords right now.
Looks like he just put Michael McDowell 2 laps down there.
I still think that the Chevy guys might go get their arms around this car before the year's over with, and they will be very competitive.
Well, we saw this on our last night race that we ran in Richmond, how the track changed and transitioned so much that most teams couldn't keep up with how much it changed. And it was pretty much loose on that night, and it's really loose that we're hearing tonight also.
Been 10 races on mile-and-a-half track since Chevrolet last went to victory lane. And Larry, to Jeff's point, how much of what we are seeing tonight in this transition to darkness are we going to see in the 600-mile race at Charlotte that we're going to have in 2 weeks?
Well, and it starts a lot earlier in the day, Mike, and it's going to end later at night. And yeah, we always talk about it. It's almost like you break that thing down into 100-lap runs, and honestly, that's going to be the stage lengths. We'll have 4 stages there, 100 laps apiece, and yeah, you really have to go back to that notebook when you start that early in the afternoon, that as far as daylight and transition well into the night.
Yeah, Larry, you know, it used to be years ago, you could do spring rubbers, you could do a lot of different things to make big changes and swings from day to night. Now it just seems like nothing really makes a big swing. We heard Clint Boyer talking about, I've lowered the track bar 3 inches and it's not helping. I mean, what kind of tools do they have today to make those bigger swings?
Well, we've heard Matt, Jamie, and Vince talk about a lot of teams pulling shims and adding shims in the front packers. And what the packers, they're ride limiters in the front of the car. You pull the shims out, it lets the car travel a little bit more. If the splitter's hitting the racetrack, they actually add thin shims. That seems to be one of the bigger adjustments being made on pit stops even here tonight at Kansas.
And Larry, it just seems to me like mechanical grip is not as important as it is aero grip. And that seems like everybody just focuses on aero grip all the time.
Yep. Well, they found Eric Almirola some clean air to run in. Now he's trying to hold off his teammate, Kurt Busch. Thanks to Kurt and the 41 team for these views from our Fox Visor cam. Heading into the All-Star race, don't forget to vote for your favorite driver. All-Star weekend is next weekend.
And you know, something I was just thinking about, and it just kind of dawned on me, the 42 has Hendrick engines under the hood. So I'd say that that eliminates one of the things that you would question.
Yep.
I don't think it's horsepower.
Here's Eric Jones running in 9th, part of that battle for 7th. Looking back from Kurt Busch. And Austin Dillon on pit road.
Boy, he barely made it too, Mike. Like all of a sudden he dove on pit road.
Yeah, he was sideways getting to the pit road entry.
Yeah, Austin Dillon took the wave around the last caution, so that's why he had to pit a little early.
Yeah, watch this, Larry. I mean, he is just, I don't know if they called him pit road or he just decided, but here he comes really high. I didn't think he was going to make it.
I'm impressed he even got there.
On your light, on your light, on your light here. Just back it down. There you go.
I hope it's all right if those right sides hit that orange box.
Eric Jones going for 8th.
I like the race that Eric Jones is putting together. Just real calm and just methodically picking away at it one by one.
BJ McLeod making a pit stop. He's in the 51 this week. And yes, Austin Dillon has a commitment line violation.
You said you were hoping. He was.
I didn't call it out.
He was hoping too.
Sure.
Here are tonight's Toyota top performers. Kyle Busch in 5th, Martin Truex 6th. Put Eric Jones on that list in 8th.
Having a nice solid night tonight, Jones is, and running 8th. Just got to run all the laps.
Mike, what's going to be interesting here is we are at lap 202, 203. The window opens here to make it to the end in about the next 4 or 5 laps. But we went back racing at 100 to go. I think what they'll do with this stage is split it right down the middle. But I think when you look right here, anywhere between lap 205 and lap 215, that's when we'll start to see those green flag pit stops.
Until then, Kyle Larson keeps picking him up, putting him down. He's now 3.5 up on Kevin Harvick. Clint Boyer, the hometown hero, currently running in 13th. How about a quick word from Duracell?
This is the #1 trusted brand.
Well, you heard Jamie talking about Clint Boyer and his 14 car and not really having the car he wants tonight. But we're going to take a look at Clint, his crew chief Michael Bugaravich and his 14 team. This is their second full season together. And remember, at Martinsville back in late March, he helped Clint break that 190 race winless streak with that win at Martinsville. Already after 11 races, they have 3 top 5s, 7 top 10s, currently 5th in the points. And Michael Bugaravich was Tony Stewart's crew chief in Tony's last year in 2016 when we won that final race at Sonoma in June. He was also the race engineer on the Ford team with Rodney Childress and Kevin Harvick when they won the Cup Championship back in 2014. DW said it earlier, this is Clint's home track. He said he'd rather win here than win the Daytona 500, something he has never done before, winning a race at Kansas in the Cup Series.
I just like saying his crew chief's name, Bugaravich. It's a cool name.
Well, that's a couple of big winless streaks that Mike Bugga had broken, including Tony Stewart's. That was 84 races when he went to victory lane at Sonoma with Mike.
I think this crowd would go nuts if Clint Boyer won this race. Hometown guy, something really special about being able to win in your home state.
Well, I think, Jeff, it's just that the fans all here know that how important this race is to someone like Clint Boyer or Jamie McMurray. They live in this near the racetrack. They used to go by here. They saw this track being built. They want to win here worse than anywhere.
So that raises an interesting question, Jeff. Which was bigger for you, winning at Sonoma or Indianapolis?
Well,
I mean, you had a couple of hometowns.
Yeah, no, listen, there was nothing bigger for me than that inaugural Brickyard 400. I grew up as a kid dreaming about racing in Indianapolis, and yes, I lived in Indiana for a good period of time.
Yep.
But it also felt really good to win in California.
Certainly. There's Matt Kenseth. He has now gone 3 down to race leader Kyle Larson. The free pass position is David Reagan. He and Chris Buescher are the only cars 1 lap down. Micah McDowell pitting here at lap 208 with 59 to go. That should carry him the rest of the way. Eric Jones in 8th place there. Austin Dillon on fresher tires, 3 laps down, going by. Jamie?
And DW, you've mentioned it a couple times tonight about Eric Jones. In his 3 previous starts here, he spun in all of them. So the goal was simply don't spin. Second goal, let's finish top 10. They have been preaching to him all night. Don't do what everybody else is doing around you. Do what the car is allowing you to do. Back up the corner, brake less, let the car roll through the middle more often. He has been listening really well. He's saying he's a little bit freed basically throughout the night, but he's doing a nice job keeping it within the top 10.
Good stuff, Jamie.
Thanks, Jamie. Is Eric Jones your favorite driver? How about Bubba Wallace? Who do you want to vote for to put into the NASCAR All-Star race? You can vote now, NASCAR.com/fanvote. You can vote once per day. If you share your vote on Facebook or Twitter, it counts twice.
Really liked what Jamie was referring to there. As a rookie driver, a lot of times you want to push the issue. You want to control the situation, and you typically get yourself in a lot of trouble by trying to do that and force that car to turn when you want it to turn, or rotate when you pick up the throttle. And that's usually when the car snaps around on you. You get a year or 2 under your belt. That's what the veterans do so well. They know how to put the car right there and just get the most out of it and work on it throughout the night.
Yeah, I think the big thing that rookies have to learn is it's not all on you. You got a crew, you got people that can help you. Let them help you. Let me help you.
Guys, I want to give a shout out to Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He's still on the lead lap. We talked about Matt Kenseth. He's fallen off the pace by 3 laps. This is a talented young racer, and I know he welcomed Matt Kenseth to that team with open arms because he said, if it's going to make me better, I'm all for it. This team will improve with Matt Kenseth there, but just keep your eye on Ricky Stenhouse Jr. He can get the job done.
Thanks, Michael. Couple of the Toyotas in, Daniel Suarez and Eric Jones. And pit road's open. You can make it from here, and now it's about to become a busy place. Kurt Busch is in along with Paul Menard. Jamie.
And Kurt Busch, Clint Boyer all saying their car handling has gone away. Clint Boyer more specifically, he is so mad he said the romance has gone away. He wants some changes. He's on the left-hand side, air pressure and 4 tires.
Brian Newman's in. Clint Boyer, as you mentioned. Here comes Harvick down pit road, surrendering a top 3 spot to do so. Long run all the way down to pit stall number 1. Matt.
Car almost fenced it at one point for Harvick. It stepped out so much. You can see the wrench going in the back window. Shrek, Mike Morneau from Maine, Oxford, Maine, going to make that adjustment for Harvick, trying to tighten him up. Meanwhile, the 42 of Kyle Larson, he's making his way. He had 2 different plans, if it was going to be a short run or a long run. He says the car in traffic is a lot tighter, but able to manage it. Air pressure change on that 42 as he slides to a stop. You can see the wrench going to go in the back window. Coach Sean Pete's boys doing a great job tonight on that 42. Solid all the way over to the left side. Price and Roberts. Meanwhile, the 12 is in. Going around to the left side. Blaney was saying that his car, not bad, but he was hoping for a chassis adjustment because it had gotten too free at the end. Meanwhile, the 22, there he is, Joey Logano. 2 wins here, but both in the fall races. Snug in the center. Vince.
The 18 of Kyle Busch on pit road now coming to the box. Kyle's just been baffled about the way the car has been handling. Too loose into the center, but then when he uses the track bar to help his entry, it affects negatively the center off. So they just haven't been able to find the balance on the 18. Going to take another swing at it, Matt.
Just not the night that Martin Truex had expected. Remember last year, he swept Kansas. One of 2 guys only to score top 5 finishes. He's been fighting tight all night long. They've taken big swings at it. Another one here.
Michael, how did you know that Ricky Stenhouse was going to lead this race? You called it.
Oh, yeah, that's a nice move by Brian Patty. And watch that cat, too. He will always go outside the box, and he's outside of it right now. We'll see how this pays off.
Well, he and Jimmy Johnson are the only 2 of the top 20 who have not pitted. A lot of cars showing a lot of heat in the right front as they stopped and made their pit stops.
Yeah, that's just a piece of rubber to get caught in there on the brake rotor and they catch on fire, and as soon as he takes off, it'll go out, but it's fun to look at. From here.
Fun if that's not your car.
From here.
Yeah, as a driver, you have no idea that ever happened, thankfully.
Brian Patty right there. He's Stenhouse's crew chief. And let me tell you, you want to roll some dice? That cat'll roll some dice with you.
And DW, he has all the way, he has lapped right now by staying out all the way. There's only 9 drivers on the lead lap, and he can go about another 8 to 9 laps if they wanted to run this fuel run out. They've already committed. I'd say that's what they're going to have to do. Go ahead and run these next 8 or 9 laps.
Well, Austin Dillon tried that strategy earlier. It did not work out well for him. About 8 to 10 laps later, he was on pit road and fell off the lead lap. Now, Ryan Blaney during the pit stop cycle moved up to 3rd place, leapfrogging Harvick.
A little better pit stop.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the 4 just had issues, but the 42 really yarded the 4 car of Kevin Harvick on this sequence, and that 12 car was able to get ahead of the 4. So, big advantage to those guys through that.
We've not had a caution flag except for the end of stages in the competition caution. We've also not have a car fall out of this race.
And this race, we had 15 cautions here last year. Tonight we've had 3.
None of them for cause.
No.
But yeah, you're right.
So right now, Brian Patty in this call in the 17 car, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., they know that the gamble they're taking is that they need a caution. They don't want this thing to continue to go green and them losing time on those older tires.
Yeah, that would pin all but the next 8 cars a lap down. Let's go side by side.
Section PU 402, row 41.
Jimmy Johnson, the fastest gun in the West.
Section 104, row 4.
Blaney got his first win.
Section 25, row 3.
What a year for Bubba.
Section O, row 25.
Keselowski's gonna win at Talladega.
Section 156, row 4.
Kurt Busch to the lead on the backstretch.
Section 233, row 1.
Martin Truex Jr.
wins.
You get a seat, but we doubt you'll ever use it. Grab your seats at NASCAR.com/tickets today.
So Dave here is taking the family up to the lake for the weekend, but without the white knuckles this time. Because his new 2018 Ford F-150 has Bliss with trailer coverage. It's Brainiac smart. Not only does it watch your F-150's blind spots, it's got your trailer covered too. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck for 41 straight years. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
While cars, tracks, and drivers may change, the smooth citrus taste that drives us remains the same. Only Mellow Yellow.
No one agrees on the best. Everyone agrees on the two best. One's a miracle of human genetics. One's a god. One controls the game. One finishes it. King Kong versus Godzilla. Does it matter who wins?
$1 million in cash up for grabs. Who wants it?
NASCAR on FS1 live from Kansas Speedway, and an interesting race with a gamble. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in the 17 Jack Roush Ford has the lead with 42 laps to go. Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers, but how long will that lead last?
He can't run but about 5 or 6 more laps, if that, Chris. I think he's coming in right now. Those tires are worn, and he's low on fuel.
Yeah, and the average speed of this race, so we're at a record pace for this particular race here in Kansas, just over 145 miles per hour, and this will put Kyle Larson back in the lead. And here's a guy who now has led the most laps in this race, a group of Fords following him, but somebody's going to head him off. Remember, he started 38th and has come all the way back. It was on lap 131 when he first took the lead. Can he hold on to it? Who'll put the most pressure?
I think Blaney, not only did he get past Kevin Harvick during the exchange of pit stops, he also cut into Kyle Larson's lead. In the last 3 laps, this car, Blaney, has been faster than Larson, so he's closing the gap.
Meanwhile, Hot Harvick, Kevin came in going for his 5th win of the year on the pole. He's currently running 3rd. He has not won, though, from the pole in his last 12 spots there. But I did want to mention Toyota, because a Toyota has not led tonight. A Toyota did not lead a lap in last week's race, and yet you have Kyle Busch currently running 5th, the highest Toyota, who already has won 3 races this year.
Yeah, and right behind him in 6th is Martin Truex, and that's interesting because that car's been fast the second half of this race, but he needs a break, he needs a caution. Get packed back in line there and see if he can make a move.
And worth mentioning, I know Jimmy Johnson, we know Chevrolet has certainly had their moments here with Kyle Larson. We asked who would step up, and he's yet to pit, but Johnson, he just is coming in now. Here comes Kyle Larson, your leader in the 42 Chip Ganassi Chevrolet, but Jimmy Johnson has never gone past race 12 to open a season without winning a race, and of course he's been a couple laps down all night. He's yet to lead a lap this year.
Yeah, and it's just so confusing, such a struggle, not only for Jimmy Johnson, but pretty much all of Hendrick Motorsports. And then Kyle Larson out there in the same. We've talked so much about the Chevys not being competitive, and Kyle Larson is dominating.
And tomorrow, this reminder on Mother's Day, and a happy Mother's Day to all the moms out there. It's an MLS Soccer Sunday doubleheader on FS1. Orlando City battles Atlanta United at 6 Eastern. Then LAFC faces off against New York City FC at 8:30. Catch all the action on FS1, of course, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. Let's head back upstairs. Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Mike Gillon.
Thanks, Chris. 38 to go. Kyle Larson in the lead. I think I've figured it out. It's something Benny Parsons used to say when he was about to roll the dice in Vegas. Baby needs new shoes. Kyle's daughter, Audrey, was born on Monday. Mom Caitlin, daughter Audrey, doing fine. In fact, the baby arrived 2 weeks early. John Hunter Nemechek was scheduled to be on relief duty in case Kyle needed to leave for the blessed event. But now he has a son and a daughter. And boy, he's out front.
He is, and he's going to run up at Hopstad, Indiana tomorrow night, Tri-State Speedway, in a sprint car. That's a track I raced on years and years ago. And the Helfrich family run that track, a really neat little racetrack over there near Evansville. And Kyle told me he's going to run there tomorrow night.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that track. Ran there myself in some sprint cars. It's hard to believe that Kyle Larson's never won on a 1.5-mile track, that he's finished second. What did it say up there, 6 times before? Wow. Incredible.
Well, he's getting mighty close to breaking that streak.
Well, Larry, 35 laps to go. What have you got?
Well, there's only one driver that's probably going to enjoy listening to Larry McDaddy's race trends here for Kansas. I've taken a look at the last 7 spring Kansas races here, and the average of the last caution, 47 laps to go, and we are now at 35 to go, and we've never had an overtime in those 7 spring Kansas races. Now there's about 37 other drivers. They don't like that trend. Kyle Larson's loving it.
Wow, look at that. Kyle Larson seems like he's running those Chevys harder than anybody. He put Jimmy Johnson a second lap down right at the last lap of stage 2, and he and Ryan Newman almost had contact there as they battled for 2 laps.
That's one thing about the young guys do. The young guys drive like it's qualifying.
Coca-Cola Racing family runs like this. Kyle Larson the leader, Joey Logano 4th, Denny Hamlin in 12th. There's Ryan Newman, who has just gone 1 down. Austin Dillon, Daniel Suarez, Darrell Wallace with some difficulties early. 33 to go. There's Logano in 4th place, 11 seconds back. Now, his lap times are very, very close to that of the leader, but not gaining a lot of ground from 12 seconds back, especially having to battle Kyle Busch here.
Well, you see Kyle Busch is hanging on that bottom groove, looked really good through the corner, and then as he got to the exit, the car just took off on him.
I tell you what, Mike, the car that could challenge our leader right now, Kyle Larson, is this guy right here. I've been watching lap times. He's got a couple of tenths on Kyle about every lap here now, and starting to close that gap a little bit. Blaney into 12.
There it is at 322 feet on our Fox tracker.
And look how close to that wall. I mean, he and Larson are. There's just got to be a coat of paint between him and the wall. That's it.
The guy that might win this race is the one that keeps the right side on it.
Wow, it's close. They're so close. I mean, look at that, Mike. It looks, every time I look, I think, oh, he's in the wall, but he's not. He's just like, oh, trouble on the back.
A shower of sparks. Alex Bowman the first.
He's got a tire down.
Right front down, and Daniel Suarez also.
Clear down, clear down.
Suarez got a lot of damage.
We're going to have help jacking up the right front. Going to be right side.
You can see some tire mark there on the right front fender of the 88 of Bowman.
Yeah, Daniel Suarez, it appears, got loose. And Bowman is victimized from 14th place. Suarez was 2 laps down. Watch the 19 on your left.
Suarez in the 19, Bowman in the 88. Bowman closing fast.
You can see Bowman checks up.
Oh boy. William Byron got through. He was tracking the 88, and here's your leader.
Checking out here, checking out. Watch it, keep coming, keep coming.
Oh, wow.
That'll take your breath.
That's 3 of the 4 Hendrick cars have had some issues tonight. Not necessarily of their own making.
No, but Mike, this will change everything. This pit stop, what happens on this restart, is going to change the outcome of this race.
Yeah, we've seen where track position has meant so much to controlling the start. And when you can control the start, you have a great chance at winning this race.
Larry, any questions here?
Well, the only question I would have is what is Brian Patty and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. going to do, because they had only run 10 laps on their 4 tires. I think for everyone else, it's going to be 4 tires, but I bet the house Brian Patty's going to roll the dice and do something maybe just rights here. The one thing I do need to clear up and I do need to straighten out, Stenhouse is actually a lap down, so I'll be willing to bet what he'll do, he'll take the wave around here.
Yeah, there you go, Larry. That's what I was thinking.
There are 4 cars 1 lap down. Now, Ryan Newman is in the free pass position, but McMurray, Stenhouse, and Bowman are 1 lap down. This is the first caution for contact of the night, and it comes at lap 237. Daniel Suarez and Alex Bowman involved. So when we restart, we will have at least 15 cars on the lead lap, including Newman, and we'll see who stays out to take the wave around. That, of course, assumes that the lead lap cars pit here. Well, as you said, this will be the money stop.
Oh, yeah, sure will.
Larson, Blaney, Harvick, Kyle Busch, Logano lead them onto pit road. Jamie.
Eric Almirola has been top 10 all night, says he needs rear grip without hurting the turn. He liked the air pressure adjustment last stop. That's what they just did this time. It'll be 4 tires. Vince?
Well, the 18 of Kyle Busch, the loosest he's been all night, so they got to give him something to snug him up for this 26-lap run approximately. Kyle says, don't worry about gaining me spots on pit road. Let's just fix the car and let me go to work. We'll see what they can do, Matt.
This is what the situation these guys live for. Right side tires already on Larson. He's away. He said he was a little bit free as he passes the 12 near the end of that run. For the short run, possible air pressure change, and they did that. Meanwhile, for the 4 of Harvick, he needed to be a little bit more freer at the beginning. Just didn't have any turn at the beginning of the run.
Kyle Larson handily leads the race off pit road. Sparks fly on a Saturday night in the KC Masterpiece 400.
Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this. Mama said, Mama said, Mama said there'll be days like this, there'll be days like this. My mama said, I went walking the other day.
Look at all those wave around cars. They have to feel.
They're trying to get home for Mother's Day.
Yeah, they're in a hurry.
And
they better hurry up.
19 wave arounds.
Most importantly, Jamie McMurray and Ricky Stenhouse take a wave around back onto the lead lap. So we will restart with 17 lead lap cars, and it'll be 25 laps to go. 25 laps, Saturday night shootout.
Keep your eye on that 12 car, Ryan Blaney. The last time that we had a restart like this, he got a big jump on the 42 and almost made a move going into 1. Now we're this late in the race, he'll make that move if he needs to.
You know what they're going to be? They're going to be 3 wide or maybe 4 going into turn 1.
Well, it's about time. That's what we came to see. Green flag.
.42 Larson had to move down to block that move by the 12. Boy, the 12's pushing him into turn 1.
But look at Harvick on the outside. He's got a lot of steam coming.
He's going to get to the outside of Larson.
Blaney got loose.
Way loose. Larson, a little side draft off Harvick, who fights right back on the outside.
Boy, these two guys better. I can't help but remember California when you see these two guys banging into each other.
Yeah, no love lost
and
here.
Logano.
And Logano is right there with him.
Larson knows how important it is. He cannot give this up, or he's going to.
I think he's going to lose
give
second.
up a lot more
he's
than
going to lose
just
second
the win.
to Logano.
Yeah. Goes back to 3rd.
Wow.
I think, what was that statistic y'all had a minute ago about Larson? 7 times he'd been passed for the win and 6 times on the final 7 laps.
Kyle Busch in 4th. Blaney recovers for 5th. They have a little distance on Martin Truex. William Byron, who took just 2 tires. Eric Jones, Hamlin, and Almirola.
Yeah, Blaney just got in a bad spot over there, Mike.
Well, our 5-hour energy big move of the race has to be that restart.
Well, I think Larson's going to be kicking himself for maybe not taking that outside lane. Got a great push from the 12 car. But watch this 4 car Kevin Harvick right here.
Yeah, right there, Blaney got loose and had to chase it. Good thing he had nobody is outside. Had to run up the hill. That cost him a bunch of spots.
Well, you give Harvick the outside lane all by himself, and here comes the closer.
He's on it now, and he's pulling away.
And that's your 5-hour energy big move of the race.
I think when he gets out front, Mike, in the clean air and everything else, as good as that car and as good as Kevin is, it's just going to be hard to catch him. That right there, he just saw there, he was able to suck Larson around just a little bit, got him loose. Here comes Logano, and Larson had nothing, couldn't do anything about it.
Now Blaney going after Kyle Larson for 3rd.
Boy, I also just wonder if the 42 of Larson, they made an adjustment that did not work out well with this set of tires.
Ooh,
that crash together.
Oh, big tire. Oh, yeah, the 12 blew right front tire.
They got into each other. The 12 and the 42 got into each other, and I think it cut the right front tire down on the 12.
And possibly the left rear here on the 42.
Gosh.
And there goes Blaney's chances.
They were racing each other so hard.
And so close. Too close.
Chip Ganassi, the car owner, he is not a happy man. I don't know how much damage the 42 car has. I think he has
a big tire rub.
Between Larson and Blaney, they'd led 153 laps tonight.
Watch this, Mike. They just get up close to each other and just.
Here's at the start-finish line.
Start banging into each other. Bang, bang.
Comes up.
Bang.
Well, I don't know if that was necessary by the 12 of Blaney. That last hit seemed to be a little bit aggressive.
I agree, Jeff, except I think he got into him and just couldn't get off. I think the car got a little loose and he just couldn't get off of him.
Quarter starting to chase you now tight. Loose under.
Cut his right front tire down.
I mean, I understand side drafting, you know, to try to make that move.
And here's Kyle Larson's radio.
You can only run me up so high. I got you.
Yeah, I just feel it's just a little too aggressive of the 12. Michael, what do you think?
It just looked like to me that Kyle moved down because he didn't like the way Blaney was racing him, and Blaney didn't like that. And he made contact with Larson and blew his right front tire out.
Blaney to the garage. Pit road is open. Vince.
Well, long discussion between crew chief Adam Stevens and driver Kyle Busch as to whether or not Kyle was going to come. He's been fighting loose all night, but on that last stop, they actually snugged it up too much. So Kyle says, you got to free me up a little bit this time around. That's what they'll do, Matt.
Kyle Larson said, I'm way too tight. That's how he started out that run, and Jeff, you touched on it. That's why he just didn't look like he was the same car. Meanwhile, the 4 of Kevin Harvick, they threw around the idea of 2 or 4, but they're definitely going to go 4 tires on the 4 car. A pump and a half up, tires on. Service almost complete for the 4.
William Byron leads them off pit road with just 2 tires again. But not everyone pitted under this sequence. The first 5 cars, at least maybe 6, stayed out.
They got to stayed out.
Chip Ganassi had it all going Kyle Larson's way until just recently.
Get ready, Charlotte. When the sun goes down, the stars come out. And these drivers have been waiting for this chance to shine. Competition at its finest is on the way, and they won't be taking this one lightly. After all, there's only $1 million at stake. Don't miss these stars as they light up the track.
Now watch Kyle Larson's pit stop. The driver goes when the jack drops. Unfortunately,
well, I don't understand why the tire changer dropped the gun on the ground. When he dropped the gun on the ground, I think that was a signal to the jackman that the lugs were on. He went back to the lug nuts.
I think he was pulling on the. I think he was trying to pull that quarter panel. He laid his gun down to get hold of that quarter panel to pull it out. The jackman didn't realize what he was doing. Oh, man.
And you know, that could have been on the radio, maybe the crew chief or somebody saying, pull out that fender, pull out that fender,
Right.
when it looked like the tire carrier was kind of already taking care of that, and the tire changer went to assist.
Yeah.
So Kyle Larson had to come back in to tighten lugs, as did Eric Almirola in the number 10. Now the drivers who stayed out and did not pit: Joey Logano, Martin Truex, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Ryan Newman, and Chase Elliott. Here's Logano's team.
Oh, what is happening today? Besides, like on the front row, besides the lineup that was just there.
I think we can do whatever one you feel most comfortable with, buddy. I'm pretty comfortable with either one, but whatever you feel best with, man.
TJ Major, spotter for Joey Logano.
Yep.
He chose the inside against Martin Truex. It'll be 15 laps to go. Whole new cast of characters up front. Let's see how it plays out. We're back under green.
Truex going for 3 in a row here. He's on the front row.
Side drive. Look at Eric Jones taking 3 wide to Logano. I think the advantage is going to go to the 78 here on the outside.
Here's the leader. Clear.
Chase Elliott coming hard on the outside. Got a good run, but got right up against the back of Newman and no further. As they head off into 3, Elliott to the bottom this time. Harvick upstairs.
Boy, he is, and he is right up against that wall, but he made the pass. Oh, trouble.
Hard in the wall goes William Byron.
Byron noses in.
Oh,
Byron went in hard.
Oh. Matt Kenseth piled into Byron right to the 14 car right at the end there. 24 set down here on fire. 37, the 1. That was a huge wreck.
Chris Buescher involved.
You can see William moving around a little bit.
That's Ty Dillon.
There. He's out of the car now.
Matt Kenseth, and William Byron climbs out after an incredibly hard hit.
I'm not sure what happened, but remember, William only took 2 tires.
It looked like he got a little bit loose. They were 3 wide there.
They will stop the cars on the backstretch. Clint Bowyer makes it back to pit road.
Boyer's just had a tough night all night long.
So 5 cars are stopped in the front stretch grass, and Byron on the front straightaway. Good to see he's okay.
Oh boy, they're 4 wide there.
Byron on the bottom.
He just gets loose underneath.
He just starts spinning out, gets into the.
Man, it just.
Oh my gosh, the car almost went over.
Just hooked, nosed in.
How many times have we seen a car land on top of Ryan Newman?
Ryan Newman? Yeah.
I mean, that's 2 or 3 times I can remember.
Too many.
Remember, he was with McMurray down in Talladega when that happened.
Matt Kenseth climbs from his car. He's okay.
That much damage, that kind of impact, it sure is good to see William Byron climb out of that car.
It is, and this is hard into the outside wall, and then it gets
Dillon
rammed.
out of his car. Jamie McMurray has climbed from his number 1. Chris Buescher moving around in his car has not yet climbed out.
Huge impact.
Well, let's ride with Kurt Busch and our Fox Visor cam.
31's up there, top side slow, inside corner, third spin, come on. Missed it here, keep coming, big wreck here, keep coming.
Boy, amazing views and amazing job getting through there.
The middle one, very top. Wrecking up ahead, keep it low. All the way on the heaters.
Chris Buescher has now climbed out of his car. That's good news. Everyone is out and walking away. Look at Kevin Harvick, just missed this.
Oh my, how close was that for Harvick?
And for Kurt Busch also, maybe a little damage to the right side actually from the 14.
I think we now know where the Golden Horseshoe went.
We do tonight. Jimmy Johnson going by, it's down in the grass. It's a huge wreck with all these. This happened in the front of the field, so it involves a lot of cars. Chris Buescher
Jeff, I wonder, did Byron having just 2 fresh tires play into this perhaps?
It's certainly possible, but I mean, they went down in the corner 3 and 4 wide, and there's just no give at this point. You're pushing as hard as you can. You can see Byron comes up off that white line a little bit and is sliding, trying to save it, and it finally hooks.
I think the 14 being on his outside,
that didn't help at all.
It just pulled him around. But he only had 2 tires, so you're already at a disadvantage, and then you get pulled around. Stenhouse made a nice move to get through there.
Bowman also.
Jimmy Johnson. And, Austin Dillon on the outside.
You see Kenseth come in right at the end.
Yep. With that 24, though, it took a hard lick into that outside wall. There's William Byron. He's fine.
Yeah, every driver involved whose cars came to rest on the grass or on the asphalt here has walked away. Seven cars involved, and Bowyer will probably be able to continue, and he may be the only one of those cars who can. Red flag is out. Lap 253 complete. Let's go back to the previous caution. Just 6 laps earlier, Kyle Larson and Ryan Blaney. And Jamie is with Ryan Blaney.
And Ryan Blaney brought it back to the garage, and then he had to be checked and released. Led 53 laps tonight, had a solid car. But what happened between you and the 42?
I don't know, just hard racing. I'm definitely to blame on that one. Just trying to side draft hard, and your car's kind of light down the front stretch there, and just hard racing at the end. I got about spun out and 1 and 2 on the restart. Getting sucked around, and we're making some spots back up and just trying to get back up to the front and try too hard. So that stinks. We had a really fast race car, and I hate it for Rev. You know, the 2 races they've been in our car this year, and we've led a bunch of laps in both of them and ended up wrecked. So wish we can get over that hump, but I thought we made a good gain tonight in where our cars need to be, and hopefully we can carry that forward into the next upcoming weeks. But definitely my fault, just trying too hard, and made contact, and then it cut my right front down, and hate I got the 42, but just hard race.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Jamie. No cautions for contact for the first 237 laps of this race, and then 3 in rapid succession.
And it's just about ramping up the intensity of the race. Now you're getting down to the end. Every split-second decision you make matters, and you're not going to lift. You're going to make more contact. You're going to take it 3 wide when before you were checking up and not taking that risk. Now it's full-on risk to try to win the race or get 5th or whatever that position may be.
Yeah, you just take less, Mike. That's what it amounts to.
So Martin Truex Jr. is the race leader under red from Joey Logano, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin, Chase Elliott. Everyone back to Clint Bowyer in 17th is on the lead lap. Now Bowyer's car is on pit road. They can't touch it during the red flag period, but once the red is lifted and the yellow comes out, they will be able to make repairs. They can look at it and evaluate it, but the officials are right there on the scene to make sure that no repairs are made under the red flag. Let's get a recap from Chris and Michael.
Yeah, Mike, if we go back to the start of this race, it was the front row of Fords with Harvick on the pole. But Ryan Blaney wins stage 1, holding off red-hot Kevin Harvick, going for his 5th win of the season. 3rd stage win. Kyle Larson then winning stage 2, his first stage victory of the season. We kind of had a series of changes. 30 laps to go. That's what Mike was just talking about. That's when the cautions came out for activity on the track.
And Jeff nailed it. You're just not going to give an inch anymore. You can see Harvick racing really hard with Larson there. Larson gets loose off the turn, and here comes Blaney with a run. Right there, he tried to side draft and ran into him, wrecked himself.
And big of Blaney moments ago to admit, hey, that's on me. You get frustrated, you're in a position, you're not going to let it go.
And you're just sitting there battling. You want everything you can get.
And then this one with a few laps, the reason we're under the red flag, with 14 laps to go, 7 cars involved, and the 24 of William Byron. The fact that he was able to walk away from this Amazing.
Check this Monster Energy visor cam out as Kurt Busch comes through this track. This is an amazing shot. Watch the 24 go into the wall and watch everything that Kurt sees. I mean, just so violent, so they're running up for upwards of 170 miles an hour right there, Chris. William Byron on 2 tires down on the bottom of the racetrack, 3 wide. His car just got loose and around it went.
Yeah, and currently Kurt Busch is running in that 7th spot. Boy, for Ryan Blaney, heartbreak kid this year. He's led the most laps of any driver who has yet to win a race, and you could sense the disappointment and frustration in him. All right, the storylines coming into this race, right? Who would step up for Chevy? It was Kyle Larson, but certainly he's out of the picture in terms of winning this race. Red hot Kevin Harvick, he's still in the thick of this, obviously in pretty good position, and the king of restarts and closing races. And the other question, and finally, Toyota has someone who has led a race tonight, the first in the last 2 races, the guy who dominated here last year and dominated mile-and-a-half tracks, the defending champ, Martin Truex Jr.
And that car's been getting better and better all night. He's in a position now to go out and close this deal. But watch Kevin Harvick. He's starting 6th. That means he's 3rd row outside. Outside should be an advantage. Harvick is the closer, like you said, Chris, and he can close this deal still from 6th place.
And Aric Almirola, who started 4th, is currently running 12th, and it was a year ago. He wasn't in the 10 car with Stewart-Haas Racing. This was the wreck that knocked him out for 7 races in this race, and it was amazing that he had to go to the hospital, but within 24 hours in the 43 car, because of a back injury, he was able to get out and recover.
You see the way that car slammed down in the back end. They had to cut the roof away to get him out of that car, and he's been rehabbing ever since, just working and working on that back.
And tonight in his 10 car, and he's had a terrific season so far, still searching for that first victory in that wreck. As we look from above moments ago with 14 laps to go, the one involving William Byron. Watch for the 10 car as he survived that to be 12th. Let's check in, though, with William Byron, who's standing by with Jamie Little.
And William has been checked and released. First off, big hit, William. Are you okay?
Yeah, that one hurt really bad, but I'm fine. We took 2 tires there and just didn't have couldn't get it turned on the bottom, and then got sucked around at the last minute. Just should have been lower than that. Just couldn't rotate, couldn't cut. So I think overall we were trying to kind of push some things there and just didn't work out. But we'll go on to wherever's next, and that one definitely hardest that I've been in, but thankful to be walking, so that's good.
I know you guys tried 2 tires a few times. How did that make the handling change compared to the 4 tires?
Yeah, I just wouldn't turn on 2 tires, and we were kind of a sitting duck there with that strategy, and then felt like after that we kind of, we're a pretty decent car before that, but a lot of guys were on different strategies. So I think the one car got hung up on the top, a couple guys split the middle, and I think we were 3 or 4 wide, and it was hard to tell or judge really how much room I had to my outside. So just got sucked around there, I guess, and got loose and hit the wall.
Glad you're okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. A 20-year-old in his 12th race, and nice to see that he's okay. And the 31 actually helped in that situation. That was Ryan Newman's car with that wreck.
Yeah, you could see the way Almirola slammed down a year ago, and that's what hurt him. In that case, setting down on the 31 car of Ryan Newman broke his fall, and it made the impact much less.
Yeah, and Kevin Harvick is currently running, we mentioned he's 6th, but Chase Elliott, talk about a guy looking for his first win, seemingly out of nowhere, is 5th at the moment.
And that's strategy. We talked about how mixed up everything is at the front of the field. Truex and Logano, Jones on those older tires along with Hamlin and Elliott. But now we've got to reset. Those guys that took 4 tires, like Harvick, has gotten a position to make something special happen.
Yeah, and Logano, he stayed out moments ago prior on that previous caution. But we mentioned that Martin Truex has his first lead of the night. This is our defending champion who swept these races last year, and he won 7 of his 8 wins, came on mile-and-a-half tracks last year. He has a win this year, but not on a mile-and-a-half.
And that car last year was just unstoppable. And just make note there, he took the lead late by restarting on the bottom. It'll be interesting to see what our front 2 guys choose tonight, because Martin made the bottom work.
In the fall, he ran again. The 78 was tuned in on his way to his championship.
Yeah, there was some bumps in the road, but they got it tuned up, and at the end of the race, you can see he yarded the competition. No close finish there. Martin Truex drove away.
Live here in Kansas, we're under a red flag with 14 laps to go. 3 major crashes inside of 30 laps. Now let's check in with the crew chief of Chase Elliott, Alan Gustafson. He's with our Vince Welch.
Well, and Chase Elliott sitting 5th right now. You guys pitted about 10 laps earlier than the most recent stop, so you got 10 laps extra on the tires. But how do you evaluate the position you sit in? You'll restart 5th here.
Yeah, I mean, it's 5 green laps. I mean, certainly we would like to be there with fresher tires, but I just thought the Napa Chevy was pretty good. The guys worked hard all night long. Chase has done a good job, so we wanted to get a little track position, and you know, the bottom lane seems to be decent on restart, so if we can get going, I think we'll have a shot to get a solid top 10 finish. So you never can tell, you know, as of what happened last time, but I think we've got a good shot at it.
Top Chevy right now. We'll see how it plays out. Chris?
All right, thank you. So 8 second-place career finishes for Chase Elliott. Truex trying to become the first driver to win 3 straight Kansas races, and his crew chief is standing by with our Matt Yoakum.
Circumstances, wheeling that car, and strategy has put that 78 car back where it was last year, going for the chance. Now you're going for 3 in a row. A lot of debate back and forth between yourself and Martin about lane choice. Have you picked one yet?
I think he's got to go with this guy. You know, we got the lead off the top there, and obviously the bottom's kind of been the dominant lane all night, but we're just we've been struggling if we got somebody on our outside of us, so I think we just got to hedge our bet and probably take the top. So we'll see. It's been a struggle for us tonight. You know, we really haven't been where we wanted, but we got some track position now, and we'll see how it goes.
Good luck. Chris?
First lead of the night before we head upstairs. What do you think about where to on this restart?
I love what Pern said. It's a coin toss. Martin Truex has to know where he thinks he needs to be in order to get the perfect start. They're going to take the outside, it sounds like.
Yeah, does it depend on who's up there with you? In this case, it's Logano, and you got Jones and Hamlin behind him.
I think they just want to get the best start they can get on their own and not worry about the competition. And if you get down into turn 1 side by side, that guy's going to get loose on the bottom. That'll give him the advantage.
All right, let's rejoin Darrell Waltrip, Jeff Gordon, and Mike Joy.
Thanks, Chris. Martin Truex won here last year after taking the lead with 19 laps to go. He takes the lead with 14 laps to go. Chase Elliott in 5th. It's the first lap he's run in the top 5 tonight. He and Eric Jones in the top 5, both seeking their first win.
I like that Eric Jones. I like where he is. He's going to restart 3rd no matter what they do on the front row here. And what he's, you know, he tried to get them 3 wide down here on that last restart. So we'll see how that works out.
All that damage. In the space of 7 laps, half a dozen contenders fall out of the race. Ryan Blaney up against Kyle Larson, cut right front tire, and the outside wall ends Blaney's night. Just 7 laps later, William Byron gets loose, gets into Clint Boyer, lands on top of Ryan Newman, and they slide in front of Matt Kenseth, Jamie McMurray, Ty Dillon, and Chris Buescher. See how all the damage on Byron's car confined firewall forward after a vicious hit with the outside wall. What a great job building safe race cars. Here's your Monster Energy visor cam. Kurt Busch got a very up-close view of that, but drove through it to hold on to 9th place. So we now have 15 lead lap cars. That is Jupiter and some of its many moons from the long lens. How about that Jones boy in 3rd place?
Restart here with 10. You ought to take a day off on the kindness. 10 laps to go. Look out for yourself here at the end. Yeah, I can do that. I think we said take care of our race car. Don't worry about the rest.
And as you said at the top of the show, run all the laps.
Run all the laps. And earlier you said we had a 25-lap feature. Now we got a 10-lap heat race.
So Martin Truex, who has won both Kansas races last year, what's he thinking now that he finds himself in the lead?
You think I'm crazy doing Tom? Just tell me go. I think you just got to roll good and you'll be fine.
I don't think he's crazy at all, because you know, even if he does drag race to turn 1, if he's on the outside, I still give the advantage to him. All he has to worry about is the 20 of Eric Jones got a great run and made him 3 wide down in turn 1. It still worked out for the 78 Martin Truex Jr., but that's the biggest concern I would have.
Well, the wild card here is going to be Joey Logano on the inside of the front row. Now remember, the first 5 cars did not stop to take on tires. Harvick and Kyle Busch are the first ones with fresh rubber. It'll be 9 to go.
20 forces that 22 up the hill. I don't think I have to worry about it because it, yikes.
Yeah, that actually helped the 78.
It did. The 78 was able to get away right there.
Here comes Harvick.
Yeah.
Well, Harvick's got those 4 tires, and he's gonna take that outside. Got a head of steam down the back.
Got nowhere to go.
He'll have somewhere to go here.
Just give me a second.
Oh, he's going to move right to second.
Oh yeah.
I think it's just a matter of time before he can get to the 78.
He has just so much more grip than the other guys do.
Get up.
And Larson trying to come back on the outside as well. Back at 8th place, gunning for 7th.
Well, I tell you
and
what,
gets it.
Harvey's going to have to hustle, Mike, to get up there to the 78. I know he's got better tires, but that 78's got a pretty comfortable little lead right here.
He better get there before Kyle Larson does.
Kyle Larson's coming too. He's got 4 tires. I'm not sure we're done with cautions either.
Here's one, turn 4.
Well, they saved it.
Yeah, but boy, a lot of smoke and flames back there at Alex Bowman. Meanwhile, up toward the front, 3rd place. Logano, Jones, Denny Hamlin.
Right now, Mike, I mean, Harvick is he's not catching that 78. 78 is kind of put her in the wind.
Yeah, I'm impressed with how the 78 of Truex has really been able to maintain this lead. I thought when you saw the 4 car just driving by these guys like it was nothing, he was going to run the 78 right down.
Kyle Larson took him 3 wide to move up to 5th.
Oh, right there.
Hey guys, yeah, I've been noticing on this 42 car, I don't know if he made contact with anything this caused it, but look at the rear glass on that 42. That thing is really caved in. We've seen that become an issue post-race for some of these teams. So you saw it last week with the 14 car.
Hamlin can't hold him off. Larson to 4th.
Yeah, I think Larson's got enough body damage that probably caused that problem on the rear of that car, because we hadn't seen that all night long. But I tell you right now, amazingly to me, the 78 car is gone. Long gone.
20 laps ago, you would have said no chance.
Well, he would have said no chance.
Yeah, hey, I picked him.
That's right.
I thought it was going to take some Cole Pearn magic on some adjustments. I didn't know it was going to go down quite like this.
I figured they're going to need that saw before the night was over with, but they got through that wreck, and here he is.
4 laps to go.
Boy, Harvick is giving. He made a big gain right there. He took a big bite out of that lead that Truex had. Truex is running the bottom. Harvick up around the top.
Oh yeah, he's really getting that top.
Oh yeah, he's getting the toe now.
Last lap, Harvick was a 10th and a half quicker.
I think it's going to be more than that this time, Brian. He's getting a huge toe.
I think Truex is going to have to think about running that top groove, and there he goes to the top in 1 and 2.
I don't think it's going to make any difference now. Harvick is there.
Well,
he'll have the gain on the exit.
He'll drive by him here in 3 and 4.
That lap, Harvick was 4/10 quicker. Between them, they have won 8 of the last 9 races on 1.5-mile tracks. They're going to slug it out again. It's going to be 2 to go.
Mike, you know, excuse me, you know, we're always talking about you can catch him, but you can't pass him. Gonna have to get around him.
See, this is a guessing game right now for Truex. Yeah, he's going to have to get up in front of him really quick here. I think he's better off making Harvick pass him on the inside than letting him get to his outside.
Truex went to the top to stop Harvick's advance.
And there's Harvick.
He's there.
Yeah, he just got so much more grip, the 4 does.
Never been a last lap pass here. There it is with 1 to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank.
It ain't over yet, but it's going to be over.
You're all good, man. Take your mark.
Harvick is just so good off the top of turn 2. gets that run into 3. Truex will have one more shot, and here he comes on the bottom. Missed it by that much. Kevin Harvick wins in Kansas.
God, you're the man.
42nd career win. 18th on the all-time list. 3 in a row early in the season, 2 in a row now. 5 wins in 12 races this year.
It's going to be hard to stop that team. That 4 car is pretty fast everywhere they go.
He ties Jeff Gordon and Jimmy Johnson for the most career wins at Kansas.
Bit of a conversation going on back here with some of the other guys. I think the 9 and the 17, they weren't happy with each other.
The last 12 times Harvick had started on the pole, he did not go to victory lane. Tonight he will for the 6th time. And it's the 6th time that he and Martin Truex have finished 1-2.
I tell you what, he looked like Superman at the end of that race. That was pretty impressive.
Boy, those guys, their whole team is so impressive. Not just this 4 team, but all of Stewart-Haas Racing right now is really putting on some great performances.
It's amazing me. He wins the race, but
Kevin Harvick taking home the checkered flag as tonight's Sunoco fueling victory. The closer passes Martin Truex with 1.5 laps to go to secure victory in Kansas.
Now he's just showing off.
No, he's going to unwind. He was a little uptight. He's going to unwind now.
Kevin Harvick gets his 14th career 1.5-mile win and does it from the pole.
Crazy night at the end.
Pretty wild battle here. Coming to 2 to go. 17 of Stenhouse does a slide job on Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott, he kind of could have pushed the issue there. And look, it ends up costing him another position.
Well, I think it cost Stenhouse too.
Yeah, they each lose a spot to Kyle Busch, and
a little frustration.
That's on the cool down lap where things weren't cooled down. Yeah. They had a discussion about it behind the pit wall afterward. Kevin Harvick on a roll to a familiar place, victory lane. Vince Welch is there.
It's getting to be old hat for Kevin Harvick. 5th time this season in victory lane. The last restart, you lined up 6th. How did you get to victory lane from there?
Well, the first thing I want to do is say hey to Daniel. I know they're either they had a baby or they're having a baby. Rear tire changer. Hope everybody's doing well. And happy Mother's Day to Delana and my mom and all the moms out there. But man, that was wild last few laps. And you know, I think as you look at the end of the race there, I was really tight on the bottom. So I just started driving it up top. I said, I'm either going to drive into the wall or win this race, and started working and made up a bunch of ground. But finally got to victory lane. I'm excited. Can you tell?
I can't tell, yeah.
I'm out of breath. I was so pumped to hear those fans screaming and yelling and have a great race with everything that.
Because there was a time you weren't happy with the car at all. When did it turn?
Still wasn't really happy with it. I think we can make it a lot better when we come back, but came down to restarts there at the end and finally got Busch Light into victory lane. Just have to thank everybody on our Busch Light Ford. Jimmy John's, Busch, Mobil 1, Outback, Hunt Brothers, Morton Buildings, Textron Off-Road, Liftmaster, Haas Automation, everybody at Stewart-Haas Racing, thank you, and to all the fans. We just appreciate you watching. So, man, that was a heck of a race.
Enjoy your Sunday off.
Thank you.
Kevin Harvick, the winner.
Championship night performance for Martin Truex Jr. The 78 team. Started 7th, but it really wasn't your night all night. You worked your way in with strategy and great wheeling it. But, man, those 4 tires Harvick had at the end got you.
Yeah, I thought we were going to be all right there. Like 3 or 4 to go, my car just got real tight, and I chattered the right front off of 4, and I was like, oh boy, that's not good, because we'd been so tight all night, and I didn't know where to go once he was getting there. I'm like, if I go to the top, he's just going to pass me on the bottom. I might as well run where I feel like I'm my fastest, where I could run the fastest, and I did, and it just wasn't enough. So good strategy call by Cole, and just overall a hell of an effort by everybody on our team. So we definitely had to fight hard. We were awful at the start of the race, and we're missing something right now. Just can't get the thing turning. So we just fought tight all night long and got better for sure those last 3 or 4 runs of the race, but still got to find some turns. So we'll get back to work on that. But thanks to everybody back in Denver, everybody at TRD and Bass Pro 5-Hour. My friends from Garmin were here tonight, and hope they had a great time. I wish I could have gotten victory lane for them, but it's been a good, fun night, and we definitely overachieved, so that's always good.
Thanks, Martin. Chris?
And thank you for putting on a good finish. And there is your winner, the most dominant since 1997, winning 5 of the first 12 races, Jeff Gordon, that year. But this was a key moment. Kyle Larson, who led the most laps in this race in the 42, Ryan Blaney, 3rd most laps, get involved, and it pretty much took both of them out of the opportunity to win the race. Jamie Little is standing by. Earlier, we did hear from one of the participants, Kyle Larson. It's his turn.
And Kyle Larson was just told that Ryan Blaney took the blame for that. But Kyle, you led 100 laps tonight, one of the best drives. How were you able to fight back after that contact and then what happened on pit road?
Yeah, we just had a really good car tonight. Our Clover First Data Chevy was fast. I always run pretty good here at Kansas, so it was nice to lead some laps. And thought we were going to have a really good shot to win there, and Kevin was able to get to my outside, and then was tight in traffic there, and then Blaney was side drafting really hard, and I was as high as I could get, and made contact, whatever, and we had a bunch of damage. So hate that we didn't turn today into a win, but it's satisfying to see how much speed our car had tonight, and definitely good to show that Chevy has a lot of speed, at least with the 42 team. So we'll just keep working hard and try and get as fast as the 4. I thought myself, the 4 and the 12 were all pretty equal tonight. It was kind of just whoever got out in clean air and then could get to the top quick enough would be the fastest throughout the run. So fun race, but a little bit disappointing their last 20 laps.
Kyle, when you pulled in and they're still here, the NASCAR officials looking at the rear window of your car, do you think that sag in there is from the rear damage?
Definitely, because I didn't have it until after Blaney and I got together. So I'm glad to see that we have a lot of damage back there, because obviously if there was no damage back there, we'd probably get a penalty, and who knows, we might still. But I got a ton of damage back there. So these cars are pretty rigid, and one area or one piece of damage can affect the whole rest of the car, as you can see. So we'll see what NASCAR says about it, but I think it's pretty obvious that we have a ton of damage back there.
Great drive tonight. Well done. Chris?
All right, thank you. He made up a lot of ground to wind up 4th with Michael Waltrip, Chris Myers live here in Kansas, and this is the way it stands. 1/3 of the season has been completed, Michael. We're 24 races away from NASCAR's 10-race playoff.
And, we talk a lot about the 4, the 18, and the 78 of Martin Truex being the 3 dominant cars.
Yes.
That seems to be a pattern. That's what's going to happen throughout the season. Who will be the 4th to join them? Looks like it might be Kyle Larson.
Well, it's worth reporting again that winning 5 of the first 12 races, the last time that happened was 1997 by our Jeff Gordon. He went on to win the championship that year. And when we talked to Kevin Harvick on the pre-race show, asked him if this felt like his championship season of 2014, and he said, yes, sort of. And Jeff also asked if you got to be careful you don't peak too early. He just wants to win as many races as he can.
And I think that's what you have to do. You've got to try to build up those playoff points. They're so important. You have a blown engine somewhere, you'll be out of the chance to win a championship. So I like their attitude. I like the way they're charging. And I will say also, Chris, about Kyle Larson's car, those cars hit hard. He and Blaney bounced off each other real hard. That could have done the damage to that back window.
His 11th win for Kevin Harvick over the age of 40, and at 42, Sparky, he's only, the most he's ever won in a season was 5 races. He's done that 2 other times, has a chance to win his 6th, and Stuart Haas has equaled their best ever with their 6th win already. The most they had in an entire season was 6 wins. Don't forget, All-Star Saturday, the Great American Monster Energy NASCAR Driver All-Star Celebration. We'll have the Open, where some drivers can race their way in, get voted in, and then, of course, the All-Star race itself. It's a full evening of fun on FS1 next Saturday night, Race Hub Monday through Thursday. And to all the moms out there on the eve, enjoy your day. You deserve it for never taking a day off. Happy Mother's Day from all of us to all of you. From Michael Waltrip and our entire crew, thanks for being a part of NASCAR on FS1 from Kansas.